Hey guys, welcome to the One Lane Road Podcast. I'm Dustin. We're back, a 2-week hiatus, and here's my partner.
It's Lucas. I wasn't ready. Yeah,
you were ready, then you weren't ready.
Yeah.
Well,
I was laughing so hard I had to wipe tears from my eyes. You kind of snuck it in on me.
Well, what we're going to do today is Lucas had a guest. We'll get talking to that in just a second. Let Lucas get on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do the best of 2016, and not just our podcast, our lives, pop culture things that have happened musically, deaths that aren't cool, but
yeah, just some stuff that's happened over the year.
Yep. So tell us about your guest that you were going to have on today.
Well, I was going to have Thomas Cox on. He's the founder of MealFit out of Cookeville, and I was going to have him on to talk a lot about nutrition and his business and fitness and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he had to reschedule. I said fortunately.
That'll get him.
Yeah, that'll get him here. Unfortunately, he had to cancel on me, but I'm going to catch him later on this week. We had a little timing issue, got a little off there, but real excited about that one. That's some in-depth nutrition talk there and some in-depth business talk. So
finally, something Lucas can let his hair down about. I've been kind of spoiled to be able to have a lot of my personal favorite guests on, and Lucas, this is something that Lucas is very knowledgeable about, and I look forward to.
I don't know about that. Well, my ignorance will shine pretty bright whenever somebody knows a lot more than I do about anything.
Well, you know quite a bit about it, so I look forward to letting you.
We'll see how it goes. It may be boring as crap to everybody, but it'll be one I kind of like. Right up my road.
Well, guess what? It's half your podcast.
Hello.
So if they don't like it, fast forward it.
We need to make some resolutions for 2017 at the end of the show.
Okay. All right, we can do that. For sure.
I just did one right there. I'm gonna stop saying hello.
Yeah,
that's number one.
Yeah, you should.
Number one list.
That's a good idea. I can't wait to see what resolutions I lie about this year.
Yeah.
I think we should. That's kind of the gist of the show. We're gonna kind of just wing this one tonight and go with some of our favorite moments of that year. Right now, what we're gonna do is cold call one of our good buddies from high school and somebody that we still are friends with, and he doesn't know it. I've asked you to be on the show before, and he just
won't come on. I don't know what it is about these microphones that scares everybody to death, but they just won't come on. They got a great personality, and they just won't do anything.
Yeah, it's just they're scared to death, and they act like I don't know what they think. I don't really care what he's about to think. We're
just gonna call him and see how it goes.
He's our friend Jeremy Hammer. Jeremy works for Smoky Mountain Harley out in Maryville, Tennessee, and like I said, went to school here in Herman Springs, and has lived there for probably 11, 12 years now, I guess.
Been married for 12.
Yeah, or no?
11.
10. Yeah. 10 years. So, and I'm going up to his house this Friday. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it if we can get him to talk with us. He's doing his first ever, he's doing a basketball game at his church there for his 35th birthday. His birthday is Friday. So we're going up. I haven't visited with him for a few years, trying to get Lucas to come. He's not so much committed.
I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air about it. I kind of doubt that this is going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
I'm probably not going to tote that 6-week-old baby up there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, all right, man, we're gonna try to give Jeremy a shout and trick him and make him not believe he's going to be on our podcast for the first few minutes.
Hey.
Jeremy Hammer, what are you doing?
What are you doing, man? 2 nights in a row?
I know. What about that?
What's Big DK into?
Nothing. I just left radio a few minutes ago down here with Lucas now.
How'd it go?
It's all right. We're just talking sports. I don't know much in life, but I know a little bit about sports.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Jeremy Hammer?
What's up, Lucas? Y'all ain't pulling a fast one, are you?
No, we're too slow and old to be pulling a fast one.
Isn't that cool?
So we're heading up tomorrow.
Showing my father-in-law a couple pictures. We went on a big hike yesterday.
Yeah, man.
And,
where'd you go?
We pulled 17 miles. We went from Newfound Gap to a place called Charlie's Bunyan, over to Mount LeConte, and then back down to Alum Cave.
You walked 17 miles?
Yeah, 17 miles.
I would walk 17 miles. What's that old song?
I'd walk 5,000 miles.
Oh, yeah. That's the worst hobby I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, Jeremy.
The what?
I don't know what you're doing, man.
That hurts
They
my
make
leg.
bicycles, they make cars, all kinds of stuff.
I can't hear you, man. You cutting in now. What'd you say?
Oh, I said that's the worst hobby yet. It sounds like it just hurts my leg. Just talking about your hobby.
Worst hobby.
So trying to get everybody hyped up for this daggum basketball game. Just telling Lucas about it.
Trying to get everybody hyped up.
Like Lucas,
You're the one that needs to be hyped up.
I stay hyped, son.
You've been Debbie Downer about it ever since I asked you.
I get out of breath putting my seatbelt on.
Do what? You putting your seatbelt on?
Reaching across and putting my seatbelt on. I get out of breath. Tying my shoes. No, I try to get Lucas to come up. I'm trying to get a couple more. Nobody won't come up. But tell Lucas about what's the I forget what you called it.
It's the carpet court, man. It's the carpet. There's the court over at the church where we go. You know when you guys came up to my wedding?
Yeah.
That little gym that we were in?
Yeah.
It's right there.
So this is the carpet court basketball championships?
Oh, yeah. The first annual carpet court showdown.
That's it. Scoreboards come in yet?
Yeah, actually, I texted the guy today that he's going to leave them out for us.
What about our jerseys? Are we just wearing red and blue shirts?
I'm still waiting on a couple people to see who else coming, and then I'm going to start divvying up probably Thursday or something. Especially since Lucas is coming now.
Can you still grab the rim?
Me? No, I can't touch the net.
I can't even touch the net anymore, Jeremy.
I'm old and fat, man.
Yeah, me too.
That's why you need to come, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, who's all playing?
Huh?
Who's all playing?
Nobody you know. It's just a bunch of kids over at the church.
Yeah.
Here's what he sells me on. He's like, it's gonna be a bunch of old guys, man. Our age, like
Now it's turned into a bunch of kids from church.
Yeah, early 30s, mid 30s.
Well, there are. There's a group of old guys that's our age, and then there's a bunch of college kids. But here's the thing, though, they're not like athletic kids. They're not like they didn't play basketball or nothing. I think one or two of them may have, but most of them's just kids that go to church there. It's something to do on the weekends.
So none of these are going to be dribbling off their knees like you used to do?
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
The only thing you might see that's crazy athletic is me when I trip my toe on the carpet and go rolling down the court.
Uh-huh. I'm going to bring Alan up with me.
I usually jump up pretty fast.
I'm going to bring Alan up with me, and we're going to just sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody to sprain an ankle.
Bring Alan with you?
Yeah, you remember Alan, the trainer?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
He was the one that said he was going to milk the swelling out of my ankle.
Yeah, you got back in that game, though.
Yeah, but that hurt terribly.
Yeah. How much is it going to be frowned on if one of those college kids gets past me and I put them on the ground?
Oh, nothing. I'll tackle you. We'll make it
What if we're on teams?
Huh?
What if me and you are on teams?
That don't really matter, does it?
Well, I don't guess so.
Considering the way sports are done these days.
Casey Hagan used to hit his teammates all the time. Why can't you?
That's right.
Yeah.
So the first annual carpet court challenge showdown.
That's it.
We're coming up. I got to go to a funeral.
He keeps saying we, but he means him.
You're bringing Lucas with you. Lucas, how's that baby doing?
Man, he's growing like a weed and crying all he can. He's hit that 6 weeks today, buddy, and he is this last half a week. He ain't been happy.
You guys ain't getting enough sleep.
I am. I'm getting some. Mama's not getting a whole lot.
Yeah, that's how that usually works.
Yeah, I was up to 4:00 in the morning with him, not yesterday, but the morning before. He was not a happy camper.
That's awesome.
Oh,
How you like being a daddy?
Oh, I love it. It's one of those things everybody tells you, and logically you understand what they mean, that it'll change your life, but until you got it in your hand, you don't fully comprehend what they were saying.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, sitting there looking in his eyes and him smiles at you. And, sometimes it's just gas, but hey, he's still smiling at you.
Take what you can get.
I'll take it, man. I don't care.
Well, I'm be glad to see you this week for sure. It's been 6 years, 5 years since I've been up there.
Yeah, no. You see, when you head toward the shed where Smoky Mountain hurts, I'm about 2 streets back this way. If you'll hang a right and just come up over the hill.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah.
I'll be dang. I always knew you live close there. You work there, don't you?
Yeah. But you don't ever show up during business hours.
Yeah. Nope. I didn't even go up there to the concerts this year. I didn't go to one. I think I only went to one last year.
You didn't come see what's his name? Detroit Madman. What's his name?
Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent.
Uncle Ted.
No, and they had some decent stuff there. It just wasn't as good as I wanted to see Whiskey Myers. That's a band, Southern rock band I kind of like out there, but they were just like $10. But I just time, man. You know how it is, time and.
They had who's the guy that broke out this year?
Sturgill.
Last year. They had Sturgill there, but they had the big bearded guy.
Oh,
he blew up.
Chris Stapleton.
Who?
Stapleton.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton. He was there
A couple years ago.
A year or so ago.
Yeah, I missed him.
Before he got really big.
I actually seen that on something. It was on.
Is that a fat joke?
I don't know. Is he a big guy?
No, he's not small. But,
no, he's not a little fella. He's no fatter than I am.
Sturgill was the last one I went to up there, actually. But yeah, Luke Jeremy likes to say, well, it's nice, my old buddy. I ain't seen him in 2, 3, 4 years, but he's always at the shed and posting pictures on Facebook. But kind of go opposite of that. I never think Jeremy comes home either. Then, like you see on Facebook, all the Price sisters posting pictures of his mom's house carving pumpkins, and I pretty well know the route. There's a couple alternate routes, but a lot of times if a man's coming home from the interstate, he'll drive right through North Springs to get to Herman Springs.
Almost every time.
I was say, did you move?
Yeah.
We always go through Livingston. I wasn't aware that you had moved. It has been a while.
You know what I mean, because I know you say Livingston, but I know you could easily go North Springs and then like you run into like Jace Fraley and says, "Hey man, I just seen Jeremy Hammer down at Melvin's." I'm like, "Yeah, right, Jeremy Hammer down at Melvin's." And he's like, "Yeah, I told him I was going to see DK." He's like, "I said, did you say anything?" He shook his head. I said, "I'm going to the shed this weekend out of spite." Well, I went to the gym. I went to the gym yesterday and did 30 minutes on elliptical just to get ready.
So, wait, so you're not working out, gotten up to 260, and you're going to get on the elliptical 2 days before you come to get in shape.
I don't know why you got to drop a man's weight, Well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying, man. I mean, I've been busy, so yeah.
You need to go on a 17-mile hike. Is what you need to do.
Apparently. Yeah, I went, but
you need to come up here and go with us, man. You'd like that.
The hike, I would probably really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. You love it.
That makes one of us.
Yeah, I would really enjoy that.
No, I could see Lucas liking that. Man. Getting up in the mountains on top of one of those mountains.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got a little mountain man in me.
I watched that Hank Williams Jr. movie. I ain't trying to get on a mountain.
I'd push you off as soon as we get up there.
I'd probably fall on my own. I can't even. I fell off the driveway at home when I was 8. I can imagine trying to walk my clumsy butt on a mountain.
The one we were on yesterday, Mount Lacan, it's the highest on the East Coast. Like 6,500 feet or something like that.
Really?
Don't
If you go from the base to the top, that's the biggest on the east, I think.
Over a mile. That's pretty big on the East Coast.
So, but there's like 5 different trails to get up to it.
What got you interested in doing hiking and stuff like that?
Oh man, I don't even know.
You started
on a couple.
You started out like hiking around hiking down a path beside your house or something, didn't you?
Well, that's the Greenway. We run down it a lot, but me and another guy just went out and we done a couple of small trails, and then there was a couple of us went out and did it overnight, and we camped out, like took hammocks and slept out and stuff, and it was just a lot of fun.
Huh, that's cool.
And then we started getting up in the elevation, and I'm telling you, man, once you get on top of one of those mountains, and you can almost see the earth, how round it is up there, and it's just beautiful.
I got a buddy that was telling me about going hiking out in Montana. He goes out there and goes like elk hunting and bear hunting and stuff, and he said going out there was fantastic, and I'd really like to do something like that, I believe.
Come on up here to East Tennessee, buddy. We'll take you.
Yeah, there's some.
We'll make a day out of it.
That sounds pretty good. I hope we don't do 17 miles that day.
We We don't have to do 17. We can do a short one.
Yeah, like 12 or something.
Yeah, get you up in some elevation.
Yeah.
I'd start off with like 1.7. Move the decimal over.
You're going to do more than that Friday night.
I'm about to cross somebody up Friday night. You watch.
Yeah, your feet.
What time y'all heading up here?
I got a funeral at 11. Then we'll head out right for the funeral.
And then you still got to go to the mall and stuff, right?
Unfortunately, we may try to. If it's late, what time are you trying to get off work?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to go into work. You just call me when you're leaving the mall.
Okay. Well, we'll just. I would like to not go to the mall, but I'd say we will. How far out of the way is that if we go all the way to Knoxville and come back to your house?
It's not far, 20 minutes maybe.
Okay, well, we'll probably go to the mall then, I'd say.
Yeah. Most of your traffic's just going to be getting out. Once you get out of the red lights down in downtown Knoxville, you'll be fine. You either jump on Pellissippi or come on down 40 to Alcoa Highway. I'm
gonna go get a official like headband. I'm gonna get a leg sleeve like Kobe wears. I'm gonna get a AI sleeve from my right elbow. I'm gonna get the NBA socks. I'm gonna put some Anthony Mason shaved out in my head. I'm gonna put like DK.
See, when I pictured you coming up here to play ball, I had a different picture in my head.
You had Will Ferrell, didn't you?
No, that's pretty good though.
Flint Tropics.
You remember that movie Along Came Polly?
I never watched it. I never watched it.
Oh, you need to watch it. It's got.
Is this a fat joke coming?
Not now.
Bet not be. Say it again.
You ain't seen that? Yeah, I can't believe you haven't seen that.
Google it.
It's
Lucas.
an old movie.
No, I know the movie. I just never watched it.
Got I can't think of that guy's name, but he's in there going raindrop and shooting it over the backboard. See,
you know better than that. I've been practicing, man. You don't know how much I've been shooting. Me and Waylon played 2K like 3 nights in a row.
Well, Brandon's got this Madden 16 in here. I can't afford to get him to 17, so he's always a year behind on all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've actually gotten really good at football.
That's how I learned football, honest to God. I talk about it every week now. That's how I learned football was from Madden.
Played Madden?
Yeah, it really is.
Let me tell you what he done to me the other night, though. I got so frustrated. He's wanting to play. So we get it, I'm getting here on the couch, and we turn it on. And, when they're little, you kind of let them beat you a little bit.
Yeah.
But once they get a certain point, like, you're going to put it on a 9-year-old, right? Like, I'm going to stomp him.
Absolutely.
And he beat me like 50-something to nothing in here the other night. And I was like legitimately aggravated. I was seriously getting mad. I'm like, you got to be kidding. I can't score 1 touchdown.
I got it. Pick six. Waylon does that to me too. And you know how good I always was at NBA Live. Growing up, I heard
you talk about it. I never actually saw it.
I'm gonna ignore that. I don't know. I don't even know if we all were good at NBA Live because we had no lives. We were NBA Live and NBA Jam, and so I thought I'm the same way as you. With you, I let Waylon win. Now it's like I try, and I can even get like the super ramped up Warriors this year. It's got 4 All-Stars on it.
Yeah.
And I can't hit anything. And the other night I was like, on the NBA games, how you release it at the top of your jump,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, what the, I always fuss on Waylon because he gets so mad at video games. Then I look at myself when I'm losing, and I'm like, what the crap? Why can't I hit? I was like, he's a 70% 3-point shooter or 50% 3-point shooter. He's like, you ain't using the shot stick. I was like, I'm releasing it at the top of the jump. He goes, no, Daddy, you got to hit so and so button. I was like, that's cheating.
Yeah, Brandon did the same thing to me the other night. We on that Madden, when the clock starts getting down, I always call a timeout just to stop the clock.
Yeah.
And I was getting so mad because I keep pushing the start button. I'm like, man, it won't let me pause it. And I just kept doing it. And I'm like, this stupid game. I said, it won't let me call a timeout. And he waited till he beat me, and he was like, you got to push select, Dad. Like, man,
cold-blooded.
Come on.
Cold-blooded. The Waylon of that, I finally got my retribution. It was like the 7th time. He beat me so many times in a row that I was just putting it on him. And then I was just like, not rubbing his face because I know he's like, go ballistic on me, but I wink at him every now and then. I throw him something.
You're trying to bluff him, wasn't you?
You ought to seen DK play in video games with Cucumber. You talk about two people that get competitive and passionate about playing some stupid video games, buddy. These two would be throwing controllers and ripping the cords out of the PlayStation.
Golly.
Yeah, you don't do that when you pay $50 for
exactly. I've given that lecture 50 times.
Have you?
Yeah.
I used to hear him give it to Cucumber, I believe.
My financial aid paid for the PlayStation 3, so I don't know what I was mad about. PlayStation 2, whatever it was. I spent it wisely. Oh, man. So, yeah, I finally waxed him, and he turned it off with 40 seconds left and said, "Don't count."
Don't count, yeah.
Punk. So, well, man, we'll let you get at it.
Go ahead.
Nah, that's all I had. That was the end of that story pretty much. But what was you going to say?
All right. I don't remember. I forgot.
Hey, before we let you get off here, what's the one song on your iPod that you're most embarrassed by?
Yeah, I knew you guys were doing something funny.
Oh, man.
Man, I don't even really have any music on my iPod.
None at all? You ain't got one song from back in the day?
No, I hardly don't, man.
No Mystical still?
No.
Hey, boo.
What did you say, Dustin?
That was a completely edited. I picked
Mystical.
I picked the one verse of Mystical that you can't. I couldn't say anything. I saw a
What'd you say?
I saw a freestyle of him, like a recent, like a current video on Facebook. He's not good anymore.
Some would say he wasn't good to begin with. Yeah.
I don't know. I liked a couple of songs of his. Do you remember? The kids will never understand the struggle that all of us went through when you had your entire music library
in a Trapper Keeper.
In a Trapper Keeper. And some people will never understand it. Jeremy had the worst luck. He left about 250 No Limit record CDs at the car wash in Herman Springs.
Yes, I
did.
At
that
the
was in
vacuum
the midst
cleaner.
of my identity crisis too. It was a struggle.
Yeah.
Can you make them say real quick?
I can't.
I forgot how to say that. Huh?
Yeah, forgot the lyrics on that one.
Yeah.
So you and Casey were at the car wash, vacuuming your car out, and you left a whole book of CDs.
Yeah, that was back down before the fine city of Hermitage Springs lost its car wash.
Yeah. The first time. It lost it a few times in there.
Yeah, I don't understand that. But.
Yeah.
Luckily, your buddy is with you. Had a good habit and maybe a hobby of gathering CDs.
Yeah. You know, I was at his house the first time he got caught for that.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It was quite funny. I was dating a girl from Salina at the time, and
God bless you.
What'd you say?
God bless you.
Yeah.
Anybody can date a woman from Salina.
Yeah. Some of us married them though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Only the brave ones.
But anyway, I was up at his house, and there was a couple other girls. I won't say who showed up, and they were wanting to go to Walmart at Tompkinsville. And I was on the phone with this other girl, and I'm like, "No, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna stay here." Because me and him was like me and you. We stayed at each other's house all the time. Didn't matter if the other one was there or not.
Yeah.
So I stay there, and I'm on the phone, and they leave. It's been an hour or so. His mom comes down the steps and hollers at me, and she says, "Jeremy?" Yeah. And she goes, "Casey just called." And in the back of your head, you're going, "Uh-oh, this isn't good." And then she says, "He got caught for shoplifting."
Can you believe
you got to do you got to go, "You're kidding me." Really?
Hey.
Are you kidding me?
And then she said, "Do you want to ride up there to the courthouse with me to pick him up?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go with you."
Oh, yeah. I got to see this.
You remember that black truck they had?
Yeah.
Well, then I forgot her name. Was her name Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie.
We rode up there that night.
How you gonna forget a woman's name you stayed at her house half your life?
And I probably hadn't seen her in
15 years.
17 years.
Go ahead.
So we can pull up at the courthouse, and I kid you not, he is sitting in the window of the courthouse, and when he sees us get out of the truck, he shoots me a bird from the window. And I was just kind of not to laugh, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So, we get him in the truck, and evidently she had told him before he left to pick up some, chips or something for supper that night. Yeah. We're going to have hot dogs and chips or something. And as I'm sitting in the middle of them in the truck, and on the drive back, somewhere around the barbecue up there, she said, "Well, did you get my chips?" And Casey he said, "No, Mom, I didn't have time to get them down my pants before they caught me." I was sitting in the middle, and I thought she was going to beat him to death.
Oh, that's so good, though. That was the perfect thing to say at that time, though.
But that was him, though. That's how he was.
G'd up for the feet up. The old saying goes. Thank God it's an old saying.
Yeah.
Nobody says it.
A lot of crickets on that one.
Yeah, I ain't the one that said it. I just heard it all the time from my companions. But no, that was the cool thing, though. I mean, the kids that are going through it now, I look at kids and they're blasting rap music and they make fun of country music. I'm like, all right, kid, I've been there.
Yeah, wait another 10 years.
It's not going to be so cool.
They need to kick it up and get a couple of tattoos that they'll regret in about 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
just get them all over the place.
There's nothing like taking it to that next level.
Yeah.
When you're 35 and you're going, what in the world was I thinking?
Hey, man, at least you never got a neck tattoo.
No. Thank the Lord.
That'd been bad if you had like a Chinese symbol for friendship on your neck or something like that. Or
yeah.
I don't know if Casey's got one or not. Last time I talked to Casey, he had like 28 tattoos. So Allen Iverson, eat your heart out. But
hey, you know when last time I talked to him was?
The time we come up there for your wedding?
That was it.
Really?
That's been, 12 years ago?
Dang. I don't think he's got one on the neck. If he does, and if he hears this, that's a bad decision, Casey.
Yeah. Call Dustin and give him an update.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a bad decision. I was going to say, hey, sorry that you got a neck tattoo, but no, that's, you can always pull the Lee Johnson and get you a Dremel tool with a wire brush on it. Just take that thing off.
Man, I saw that.
He's tough.
He done that?
He sure did. He went up there to Lafayette and got a tattoo. Took a picture of a deer up there, and he said, "Hey, this will never look right. There's too many horns on it." He said, "It don't matter. I'll take it off. I don't like it." The guy laughed at him and said, "You know those are permanent, right?" He said, "If I don't like it, I'll take it off." It turned out to be a big black blob. He'd come to the house, took a Dremel tool with a wire brush in it, and took it off.
Have you seen it since he took it off?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What does it look like?
It looks like it hurt real bad coming off.
Looked like a good place for a blob.
Yeah. Looks like I'd have left me a big black blob of antlers on there.
Well, yeah, that covers it. We're all rappers with tattoos, and
there we go.
We've straightened up. We've made something of our lives, though. Until this Friday night, when we're injured in the
your reputation goes down the drain again.
You know how many times my reputation's been there, and I have to. You know how many times I've had to salvage this reputation in the last 15 years? Shoot. Hey, ain't nobody in that gym besides you and Leslie
gonna know anything about you.
The first iPhone or iPad I see recording me, it's gonna get smashed like Dennis Rodman.
No, man, there's a couple of guys that's anxious to talk to you.
Is that right?
Yeah, they are, because I've talked you up, man. I'm like, man,
can't wait to disappoint them.
A couple of buddies that's all into sports and stuff, and I'm always telling them, like, man, I got this buddy named DK, and I'm like, he's met everybody.
Yeah.
He goes to eat at a restaurant, and he meets somebody famous.
I just tell you, those guys are going to leave really disappointed in their knowledge on sports after they talk to DK. They're going to go back home and have to do some studying. This guy's really stepped his game up over the last 6 months.
One of them the other night asked me if I knew some wrestler, and I was like, nope.
Not a clue.
But Dustin is coming, because he's the guy will be there Friday night. I'm like, but Dustin does.
Unfortunately.
Actually, he has
probably met him.
hooked up somehow. He's hauling these guys back and forth to the airport. They were like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I don't know how he does it, but yeah, he did."
Yeah.
I remember one time in high school we were at On Cue. Is that what it was called? It was On Cue before it was Sam Goody.
I don't even remember.
Is that over there in front of like Walmart?
Yeah, it was an On Cue before.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember. Of course, I still watch wrestling in high school. I mean, I still watch it now occasionally, but it's not anything like. I might DVR it occasionally and fast forward through it.
Just on Monday nights.
Yeah, I mean, just I don't watch it. Like I said, it's too much content now. But back then I was still watching it. Pretty much in high school, you'd miss it here and there. But
Did you say there's too much content?
Yeah, he sure did. He really did.
it's too much. Like I don't even want to watch it.
I'm not sure I heard that right.
Yeah.
There's just too much of it. Like it's not even worth watching. Keep trying to keep up with. Is what I'm meaning. But like, it's not because it's fake and I've outgrown it or anything. It's stupid.
The storyline's got too complicated. That's what I'm getting from that.
Yeah.
It's too mature. But I remember being in On Cue and just picking up a wrestling CD with no intention of buying it, right? But Jeremy just
A
like
wrestling CD?
I was looking at it like I didn't know they made them even. And what? Don't hate on me when you had Silk the Shocker in your cart, okay?
I'm not, and I just didn't know Macho Man Randy Savage had
Made a mixtape.
Yeah, had a mixtape.
No, what it was like it was a compilation of like all their entrance themes, and I was like, I've never even seen one of these, so I lifted it up, and Jeremy just looked at me like a disapproving parent. He's like, Dustin, don't be stupid. Don't do that.
Either put that down or I'm not checking out with you right now.
I was like, you're right. Let's go bump Public Enemy in your Grand Prix. With her hat.
At least I had a Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I had a
wasn't riding
cavi.
Shotgun.
Yeah.
I had the cavi, so who am I? I'm not making fun of the ride. I was just stating the ride.
You had the what?
The cavi. I'm not making fun. I'm not making
Oh,
fun.
the Cavalier. I got you. See, you're using all these lingo. I don't know.
Yeah. So
cavi.
no, I wasn't making fun of the ride. I was just stating the ride. That's what we were in by the time we were like.
Yeah, he shut that Cavalier down up here in the front yard of the house I live in now, too.
I flipped that thing.
Yeah.
What did he do? Well, I don't remember this. What happened?
I was drunk. No.
He fell asleep after basketball practice going home. He got up windy stretch, rolled the window down, that cold air hit him, and he turned it upside down in my front yard up here.
Yeah. I'd been at the lake. Not even the lake. We've been at the Red Bull swimming pool all day.
Yeah.
And went to ball practice and no doubt hustled like nobody's business for 2 hours for Daddy Donnie. And then just fell asleep and hit the gravel and woke up and jerked it around, rolled it 3 or 4 times, and crazy.
Darryl Gully shut it down to come down there and check on him.
Yeah, Darryl Gully used to say, "Son, we heard that at the mill. We shut her down."
Shut it down. He grabbed a disconnect with his hand. Every time he'd say it, he'd reach up and grab that air disconnect and shut it down.
Well, but anyway, I'll see. I wish Lucas come with us, but he ain't coming.
I got an interview today Friday.
What are you interviewing for? I thought you was like...
Oh, no. I'm interviewing someone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the cell phone, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to have this computer sitting in front of me.
Oh, I've heard these remote things from the lake.
I took that computer with me, too, from the lake.
We can set you up a corner at Beach Grove Church, and you will be on air.
Be on
Live
air.
broadcast from Carpet Court.
Can you? Yeah, from the Carpet Court.
How you even dribble on carpet?
It don't matter. You ain't going to dribble no way.
I'll show you Friday.
Yeah, you're just going to pass the ball to Jeremy and
Can I
let him
just
dribble.
be a spot-up shooter? Like, can I just be a Steve Kerr?
Oh, are you being serious?
Well,
he said he was going to be a spot-up shooter, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
I'm gonna post somebody up. There any more big boys down there?
Yeah, there's a couple. My buddy Sherman's probably 6'4".
God almighty, man.
Huh?
So I ain't fast enough to go by nobody. I can't jump over nobody, and I can't post it. Can I be on his team?
You got it, DK.
All right. I'm coming that far. I gotta have some caveats. Have me
Some caviar?
caveats.
Oh, okay.
Like I've heard these podcasts where you was talking to Coach Rob Edwards and all of them, and you were reliving the glory days.
That's terrible. We both
Throwing
said
down the stats.
Oh, he's terrible. You was one of the best basketball players, and your feet didn't know it. Your feet.
You you can come up here and make some of that up. And next time you go back and tell him, you'll be like, I still got it.
Yeah.
Like, thought Dustin was done, but
Yeah, right. Do you remember? If you remember on that episode with Rob was like, "Well, yeah, Dustin hit a couple threes here in that game." Then the other one, he's like, "Yeah, he hit." He was like,
he hustled.
No, he was like, he was 4 for 5 from the foul line. I'm like, just go ahead and say it, Rob. I sucked. I sucked that game. Okay.
Let's just call it.
It's just called how it is. So, yeah.
Well, Jeremy, dunk on him Friday. Dunk on him for me.
The only thing I'll be dunking is a donut Friday.
I want the rims on 8 feet, and I want 3 bowls of peanut M&Ms waiting for me.
All game.
No kidding. We've kicked around the idea. We do the little like the upward basketball for the little kids over there.
Got the adjustable rims.
We do have like 4 goals over there that's adjustable, like one down to like 7 feet.
I could dunk on 7 feet. I ain't skeptical.
And we were talking about rolling them out and playing on them.
Let's have a dunk contest on the 7-foot rims.
We can do it. If you will get out and do a dunk contest, we'll have a dunk contest.
On 7-foot rim?
Well, not 7 foot, but we'd probably push it to 8, 8.5.
Are you kidding me, man? I can't.
He ain't going to hit 8.5, I guarantee you that.
I can remember last time we played basketball, we was dunking on 9 feet. That was 7 years ago.
Well, you did go get on the elliptical today, so.
Yesterday, I ate today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'm getting back on it.
You got another, day? Tomorrow's Thursday? Yeah, you got another day of elliptical.
I hope you sprain your ankle Friday night.
I probably will.
I hope Alan has to come suck the milk out of it or whatever you said he did. Whatever he said. Well, Jeremy, thank you for finally, against your will, being
on the One Lane Road podcast with Lucas and DK.
All right, boys. Y'all have a good night.
All right, man. I'll see you Friday.
See you.
Jeremy Hammer, that was a successful debut here on the One Lane Road podcast, whether he was willing to do it or not.
It was good timing. Good time. Glad he went along with it. He knew something was up.
Yeah. Trying to play a fast one on me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good sport to play along, though. He knew something was up.
That's what we're going to start doing. A lot of our friends that have said they're going to be on the show. And
yeah. I about said who we was going to call next, but I thought, hey, it's not so much of a trick if we go ahead and tell them.
We've tried that with a couple of them. They didn't answer. But
yeah.
Hey, all seriousness, guys, I want to address something that my good friends Jeremy and Jeff Mackie, they lost their mother 2 days ago. As long as I've known the Mackies, their mother's been pretty ill. Mm-hmm. She had a leg amputated, and she's had a hard way of going. And their dad, Steve's, really had an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
I know, of course, it's something I've not really touched on this show. Just kind of not something I want to talk about a lot. But my mom
hits pretty close to your home, huh?
It does, and she's been gone for a year and a half, so to see the struggle that we went through for 2 years with her cancer and how hard it hits you, and just how hard it is to help take care of someone in your house, like that. I know Jeff and Jeremy's mom has been in and out of the nursing home, been in and out of hospitals, and they thought they were going to lose her several times. The last couple of years especially, and I just tell you, man, we give him a lot of crap on here, and of course, we hadn't had Jeff on, but, those boys have been nothing but pure, great to me, lack of better terms. I mean, they're not just – I've been blessed with never a blood brother, but I had several brothers here in Herman Springs that I consider you guys. And that continued when I met Jeremy and Jeff, and it was actually pretty funny the first time I met Jeremy at Woolies, and then I cussed out Jeff on accident because I thought I was cussing Jeremy. He's like, "You're talking about my brother, bro." I was like, "There's no way there's 2 of you." And then he ripped off his hat and had highlights, and I was like, "Oh, you're not Jeremy, are you?" And then I've been friends with both of them. They've been there for me, and they're they're great guys, man. There's nothing I can't say about them and do them justice. Actually, just what kind of people they are.
Well, brother, we're sorry. We love you. If you want to come on anytime or just come over and talk about it, man, come on over. But we hate it for you.
Absolutely, it's tough. And like I said, Jeremy's been on 3 or 4 times with, and Jeff listens all the time. He'll text me about stuff he likes about the show, and but other than that, it's not. They're just great dudes, man. And like I told them, it's so cliche, and it's so they'll hear it 1,000 times. The funeral arrangements are this Thursday and the funeral's Friday. she's in a better place. She's not hurting anymore. It's so cliche, but it's absolutely true. When you see somebody, it was almost when I lost my mom. It was almost, I don't want to say a relief, but to see her in that much pain, especially the last several months, it's kind of like it's over.
Yeah.
And you miss her like crazy, miss her like hell, but still, at least that you can have that peace.
Yeah.
Knowing, and that's the only thing I can be able to relay to them. Is you're not going to be the same. It's going to be different. It's going to take a while to adjust to it, but you take comfort knowing that she's no longer in pain. So
yeah.
So man, we're thinking about you boys. We love you to death, and our thoughts are with you.
Well, let's segue in from that. It's a kind of hard one, and it's good for you to be able to share your experiences with those guys. And I'm sure they appreciate it, and it's a hard time to go.
It for sure is, man. I dread it for them, but they got a lot of good friends. So,
well, let's get into a little bit of the regular show here. What do you got for our Titans, Big DK?
Okay, so it was pretty simple. After beating the Super Bowl champion Broncos, and then going to Kansas City, which we didn't get to cover. We weren't here last week, of course. A 10-win team that we weren't supposed to beat on the road. We're supposed to be the toughest place, one of the toughest places in the NFL to play, and they win in 4-degree weather by a field goal as time expired. So basically, the Titans had what the people on TV like to say is they control their own destiny.
Right.
Go to Jacksonville, a 2-win team, take care of business. Then you're playing this Sunday, January 1st, at home against your division rival Texans. Pretty simple. Win the game, you win the division. You're hosting a playoff game January 7th or 8th in Nashville. First time in 8 years a playoff game will be held in Nashville, or them being in one in general. And what I done was, anybody that listened to me last week, whether it be on radio or I would have talked about it here had we had our show, anybody that asked me about the Titans, I said, I know the Jaguars are 2 wins, but I'm telling you what, every year, no matter how good the Titans are, how bad the Jaguars are, vice versa, whether they both flounder around the same record, they always beat us one time.
Mm-hmm.
We've split. I didn't know it until I actually looked into the stats. I knew last several years. We've now split, previous 7 years in a row. They've won 1, we've won 1.
Really?
Add that in the combination that they just fired their coach prior to this week's game, or that game. And it seems like everybody always plays a little bit more incentive, a little more fire when they were playing for a new coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, we got rid of that old regime. Here's something fresh. We're going to play our butts off. Plus, the Titans just stomped their butts in Nashville on October 27th for a primetime game. And, that was the Thursday night game that week.
Mm-hmm.
Titans had them up 27-0 at halftime. So, you add all three of those factors in. And the fact that the Jaguars have had some pretty daggum good draft picks. They had Jalen Ramsey, who played ball at Florida State. He's a kid from Smyrna. Dante Fowler. Their quarterback, Blake Bortles, he's been terrible this year, but he threw 35 touchdowns. They've got talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, maybe it was just the coach. If they come out there and get off to a 10-0 lead, I'm still not worried because I've seen the Titans come back from deficits all season.
Mm-hmm.
Titans score, make it 10-7. But something just didn't look right. Their passes weren't, they just didn't come out with the same intensity that they needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I feel like they play down to their competition or play up.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't supposed to compete with Green Bay and all these other teams in Kansas City and Denver. They come out and they won. But a team like Jacksonville, they almost play down to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, there's a picture of all the linebackers in Christmas suits boarding the plane. Of course, everybody wants to blame it on the linebackers wearing Christmas suits, that they weren't taking the game serious. And maybe they weren't. Maybe they're looking past that and going into, looking past to Houston. I know I bought 2 tickets on Friday, the day before the Jacksonville game. I bought 2 tickets to the Houston game to make sure I was there for what could have been a clinching playoffs, go to the playoffs. I've got those sold.
Because the game doesn't matter now?
Well, essentially, no, because – and actually that night had even though the Titans would go on to lose, the Bengals, if they had beaten the Texans, would have evened up the record, and basically it's still a winner-take-all.
Mm-hmm.
But the Bengals apparently have one of the worst kickers in history, and he shanked it a little far to the right. That's why he's been cut by like 3 teams, including the Texans. So, yeah, he screwed it up for us. Yeah, really they're just bragging. They're just playing for bragging rights. This, even though they can send the Texans to the playoffs with a loss. And I mean, they can win the game and finish 9-7 for the season, first winning record since 2011. So I'm sure that players want to go out on a hot streak because overall this season's got to be considered a success. 5 wins combined the last 2 years. You're winning 8, possibly 9, on the doorstep of 10 if you take care of business in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got 10 wins. Look, you're 8 wins, but then you've got 2 first-round draft picks next year, guaranteed almost top 5 from the Rams, and you're going to flounder anywhere between somewhere 12 and 18 with your own draft pick, depending on whether you win or lose Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The most devastating news, to stay optimistic, yes. I think they know they should have won this division because the Texans are not good. They're going to go to the playoffs and get their butts kicked because they're not that good. The Colts were not that good. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of talent, but overall, we're not good for whatever reason. This was the year the Titans could have jumped from 3 wins to the playoffs. So you got to think, draft picks, but everybody else is getting better too.
Right. Unfortunately,
the bad news of the day was Marcus Mariota went down with a broken leg.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, they were trying to make their comeback, and they were down.
Which bone did he break?
His fibula.
Really? What, he took
a sack.
Took a sack.
He was trying to scramble. Guy got him from behind, and his right foot you could tell it was ugly. Interestingly enough, later on if you ask most people who's the top 2 young quarterbacks in the AFC, Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota. Derek Carr broke his fibula in the Oakland game.
Really?
Yeah. And a guy from Seattle, a wide receiver, broke his fibula and tibula the same night.
Oh, my gosh.
So, gruesome week if you're an NFL player. And really, really disappointing. The Titans are a team that I'm, like I said.
In love with, yeah.
Yeah, man crushes.
Yeah.
But no, I think they could have got in the playoffs and done some damage. Are they going up to New England and winning? No, they wouldn't go to the Super Bowl. I think they could have got an upset of somebody in the first round just because all the talent they do have on offense and defense. Houston's not doing crap, so it's disappointing. But it's also another level of disappointment for Oakland because they're a 12-win team. Mm-hmm. They're looking to win 13, I think, this week. I think they're 12 wins right now. Now they're playing with a guy named Matt McGloin or something. I don't know. McGloin, I think, is
second string guy.
Yeah.
No, not much playing time apparently. If you don't know his name, but
so you're looking at the AFC playoff that's going to have Matt Moore, Matt McGloin, Tom Savage for the.
Is that their second string quarterback too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Savage just took over for Brock Osweiler. Brock Osweiler was the guy that played behind Peyton Manning in Denver last year. Houston Texans signed to this massive $72 million contract, and he's been terrible. Charles Barkley, terrible. And so they've benched him for this Tom Savage kid. It was a draft pick 2 or 3 years ago. So, all these backups are going to be playing in the AFC in the playoffs. So,
on NFL, while you're still on it, did the Buffalo's coach just get fired too?
They did, and it was kind of random. And
yeah.
Rex Ryan, his brother Rob Ryan, defensive coordinator, they were a package deal. But, he's one of the most – I won't say revered for sure because there's no gray area with Rex Ryan, right? You love him or hate him, and he's always been outspoken, outlandish, just over the top in every aspect of his personality. It's just him. You knew that when you hired him,
right?
He's went 17-18. He went 8-8 last year and 7-8 this year, and he's probably going to finish 8-8 again because they play the Jets and they're terrible. They're in the division where they play Tom Brady twice a year. They hadn't. He's been given 2 years. You can't just turn around if you don't have the draft picks and free agents to come there. You've got to have time. I just don't understand. He signed a 5-year, $27 million contract, and they're going to be eating $17 million. It's not like he changed. It's not like he pretended to be a guy that he wasn't. He got there and like, man, this dude's a douche. We're tired of listening to him. Like you knew what you were getting when you signed him. And like I said, it's not like he was going 4-12 or 3-13 or.
Is there a bunch of free coaches out there right now? Is there a bunch of up and coming guys?
You got Josh McDaniels, who coached in Denver when he was pretty young, probably early 30s. Now I think he's 40 now. He's an offensive coordinator for the Patriots. It's pretty well common knowledge he's going to be available if he for a look. There's Fisher out there if you want to go bark down that tree. There'll be some coaches.
But nobody that's been earmarked for his job yet or anything.
No, not that I hadn't studied up on it as much since it happened. But yeah, it was kind of surprising. It wasn't surprising because they've been trying to fire him for like 3 or 4 weeks. It just didn't make any sense. They kept winning games, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's Buffalo. They hadn't. It's not like they're
cold weather does stuff to people, man.
It's not like they're the gold standard for excellence or anything. They hadn't been in the playoffs since '99 when the Titans beat them in the Music City Miracle game. They're the franchise that's infamously lost 4 straight Super Bowls in the early '90s.
Right.
I don't know where you're getting your what's the word I'm looking for? Your
cojones.
I don't know. I don't even know the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe they think they got somebody in mind to take his place. But Marcus Mariota did have surgery today. 4 or 5 month timetable.
Ooh.
His recovery. Derek Carr must have had a cleaner break or something. 6 to 8 weeks.
Man, did it come through his skin? Did Mariota's come through his skin?
It didn't show it on TV. They put an air cast on him and they put him off on the card.
Ooh.
But he is so cool and calm. Like even with the air cast being put on, he's sitting there all stoic. Obviously pissed off. Obviously disappointed.
Yeah.
But just just taking it all in stride. And, Derek Carr's out there rolling around on the ground, holding his foot, saying it's broke. And it was kind of funny, the reactions between the two quarterbacks.
The huge differences in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was watching the news before we got started, and the UT Vols fans got voted the most annoying fans on social media.
by who?
By like 9. What are they? All-Americans or Hall of Famers or something?
I forget. You said All-Americans?
Yeah, I guess All-Americans. There was 81 All-Americans that got polled, and 9 of them voted UT as the most annoying fans on social media. Half of them, the other one said that's the reason you go to UT is to be with those fans. They're so emotional and so loyal. But apparently they're a little annoying on social media too.
I'd have to start paying attention more to...
we won something this year. UT won something this year.
Yeah. I'll have to start watching for the Mackies and James Rinks and Matt Chapman and Derek Woolbright and all these Vols fans. I mean, I can't say much because the only time that a lot of people know that I have Twitter is on Sundays when the Titans play, And
yeah.
I immediately have 3 less followers because I rant so much on Sundays. But, yeah, I mean, right, it just depends on what you're looking at. I can... But there are some fan bases more annoying than... Like when Titans play, I hate to
say the Florida people saying that we love Miracle Whip or mayonnaise.
Yeah, what the hell is that all about?
I
don't know. But it's different with every fan base, and I'm sure, man, because I went to the Music City Bowl whenever they were here the first time.
Yeah,
played North Carolina, and we were behind 3 guys, and they were like, "Oh my God, like seriously, like throw the freaking ball, dude." Like, oh my God, are you watching this? This is garbage. And I was like, and of course, thank God it was 30-degree weather. He would have had his chubbies and his Sperry's and his fratastic startup kit on, but it was cold, so he probably had a turtleneck and a
vest,
scarf.
Yeah,
something. He was talking like a sorority girl. I was like, I couldn't handle this. Like, why are Vols fans so? But I mean, that's just some of them. That's just some of them.
Some of the current culture of college campuses too.
Yeah, when I hear Rinks and Derek Woolbright and those guys talking, they're not talking like that.
No.
Those guys aren't going to school at Knoxville. And
yeah.
It's just kind of the culture there.
Yeah.
I'd say they're pretty annoying. I don't follow a lot of stuff on social media with actual fans, but
yeah, I don't either. I don't
from there
follow a bunch of football anyway, but I could see how that would happen.
Yeah,
especially up in the mountains where they've got some of that old Smoky Mountain moonshine. Get a little bit of that fire water in somebody during a football game, and I bet those tweets get pretty annoying.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they probably talk the same amount of garbage during Florida game than they did during Tennessee Tech. They probably don't have they probably don't have a chill. They probably just are that annoying all the time.
Yeah.
When it comes to games, but. Yeah, that's pretty interesting stat though. So
UT's playing.
Speaking of UT, yeah,
mm-hmm. They're playing in the Music City Bowl.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me is when you look at it. Just kind of quick hit on this real quick. Nebraska, they're in the Big Ten West, and they had a chance to kind of clinch their bowl game or their title game at the end of the year, and they got routed by Iowa 40-10.
Mm-hmm.
And then UT, you look at what we've talked about since, almost the start of this podcast is all the expectations of what with Josh Dobbs and Alvin Kamara and Jalen Hurd, Josh Malone, Derek Barnett, and all these guys, all the expectations. Well, this is the year to win the SEC East, and this is going to be the year to beat Florida, and they can give Alabama a run for their money. They can possibly get to the Final Four in the BCS championship games.
Yeah.
And what happened was, in reality, Jalen Hurd quit. Butch Jones took a lot of criticism. They took 4 losses. I mean, you lost Alabama and A&M. A&M in a heartbreaker. Alabama just because
they're Alabama.
It's Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Then you lose to South Carolina, which is unexpected. And then obviously the Vandy loss that stung pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. And then you're sitting here at the end of the year, 8-4, and your title hopes are crushed. Then you're looking at a big bowl game, and had they beat Vandy, they would have been a different bowl game for X amount of thousands of dollars more.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they're at the Music City Bowl, and you got to wonder, how bad they want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How bad do the Vols really want to be here? Nebraska wants to be here.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to prove a point. They're looking to play the spoiler because it's going to be 70 to 80% orange in Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. So you got Nebraska coming in. They're the road team.
Mm-hmm.
They're wanting to send everybody home disappointed. But at the same aspect, how bad do the Vols want it?
How much of that is, and I apologize, I think we might have said this before, how much is it you think that they just get used to losing? They've just been doing it so long, they maybe just got used to it.
Well, and this was the class that was supposed to be different because you had Butch's class in.
Yeah.
Right? You got rid of Derek Dooley's Jagovs that he had, and you got the studs that we've been anxiously awaiting for this class to rise up the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? And they just underachieved, and how much of that goes on coaching? I know a lot of people wanted Butch Jones' head.
Yeah.
And that may come back to the most annoying fans on social media because every time Butch Jones done something well, he was,
the greatest person ever.
Yeah. And then when he didn't, God forbid, in the Florida game, they're losing halftime. They was fire Butch, then
yeah,
go Butch. 2 quarters later. So, it is hard to change the culture when those kids have never really won anything. It's hard to just get to a winning culture when you're not used to it. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
If they think they've underachieved, they have. It's their own fault.
Mm-hmm.
They have nobody to blame for the underachieving. But what you like to see is them come out with a little fire, a little bit of passion, and make us all at least somewhat forget
hope.
Yeah, and somewhat forget those losses, and end the season on a good note, and hopefully that's what'll happen. I think they should be able to beat Nebraska. They've got to put it away. And same thing in Nebraska. You got to hit quick on them.
Yeah,
take some of the momentum away because that place will be rocking with Vols fans. So that's the key for Nebraska. Step their defense up. Vols are averaging 36 points a game this year, and Nebraska's only giving up 23. So if they can get around that average, they got a chance to pull off the upset.
Yeah.
So should be a good time.
Yeah. Well, let's end this show with a look back at 2016 and the stuff that we just was the most important stuff to us through our personal life and podcast and everything in 2016. Maybe even get a little look at the celebrities and stuff that passed away in 2016.
Yeah, man. You want to start with the celebrities?
Yeah, let's just do that.
Okay.
Who's
the biggest one that influenced you as far as
I don't know that any of them that passed away that would influence me, except for maybe John Glenn. John Glenn was such a pioneer. He was a mechanical engineer.
Right.
He was the first man to orbit the globe. He was one of the original astronauts. He's wound up being a U.S. senator later on in life. So he's a pretty influential guy, man. He shot for the moon and kind of took it. Unfortunately, he didn't.
Literally.
No, he didn't actually make it to the moon.
Oh.
And that was kind of unfortunate. He come in with the first group, and I'm kind of forgetting what the name of the rockets were that he was doing at that point in time. But he was a pilot, and he got his pilot's license, privately, and then wound up going to NASA and working for NASA as some of those first astronauts. But by the time that they were making the moon landings, he was in his 40s, and there was no way he was going to be selected as one of the people to actually land on the moon.
Okay.
But still, had a fantastic career as an astronaut,
Probably like I said, I don't know about influencing, but two of my favorites that, well, we'll start with Craig Sager, Turner sideline reporter that had worked for TNT for his, I've watched the NBA since 1993. Now, I remember Craig Sager, and I don't know how familiar with him that you are, but battled leukemia for the last 2 years, and what he was known for, he wore these outlandish outfits. I mean, always had the brightest attire. Then had sideline when they started doing like the interviews during halftime or first quarter. Used to they do that when we were little. They have a halftime interview with a coach or something, but they got to doing like 2 minutes in the second quarter interviewing coaches on the sideline. He and Greg Popovich for the Spurs. Popovich very dry humor.
Yeah.
And at first you're like, Sager would ask Popovich something, and Popovich was like kind of be really dry and kind of a jerk to him. Like, man, why he's such a what? But then after a while, you get to know when they've got a pretty good friendship.
Yeah.
So he's just doing it
to get under his skin.
Yeah, a little bit just to mess with him. So really neat moment came when Craig was in the hospital one of these times, and Craig Sager Jr. and it looked like he was gonna make Craig Sager Jr. did the sideline report for the first time, and he did the interview with Pop. And Pop like almost teared up and said, "You're not as good as your dad. Let's get your dad back."
Yeah.
On the job, and they started being more heartfelt to each other after that. My favorite thing, like Kevin Garnett used to say, you need to take this outfit, you take it off, you need to put it in a box, you need to burn it, all of it. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Shaq would say, this outfit is horror awful. They all messed with him, they all roasted him about his outfits, and the coolest thing is where Turner has never hosted a NBA Finals. It's always been previously NBC, then ABC. Since they switched. So since he worked for Turner, he never got to work a sideline reporter for an NBA Finals game. Last year, ABC brought him over for the Cavs-Warriors game and let him do a sideline game. So he finally, after 30 years probably, got to call a NBA game.
Wow,
so
that's cool.
It was really cool. And he passed away, and it was you had everybody in the NBA they had tacky tuxedo shirts they were wearing.
Yeah.
Players from all sports reached out.
Yeah.
So he was very, very well thought of in the sports world.
Another one that I think about is Dave Mirra. Dave Mirra was a extreme BMX bike guy. He did the half pipe, and a lot of people probably remember him from MTV. He hosted one of those MTV shows.
His name sounded familiar when you said it.
Yeah, I can't remember which one he hosted, but unfortunately, Dave died of an apparent suicide this year. He had some young children and stuff, but I think it had a lot to do probably with CTE. You hear that a lot coming up in the NFL and stuff. He took some pretty hard hits from way up in the air, falling back down in the half pipe and stuff that he was so used to doing, and then all those jumps, just practicing those things over the years. So, that's something that's just awful, man. You take a hard hit, and what most people don't realize is when you take that hard hit, it screws up a lot of stuff. It screws up your endocrine system. Your testosterone can take a big dive, and next thing you know, you're not yourself anymore, and you slide into a real bad place. And I don't know if anybody knew it about him. He slid off into a bad place, and unfortunately, he apparently had decided to end it on his own terms. So that was another big one for the year.
Probably my second most influential. Merle Haggard, of course, we won't talk about a lot of these people in real long terms if we covered them in past podcasts, but Merle Haggard, just did it his way for several years in the, just when you think of the upper echelon of country singers from the 70s and 80s and even 60s for him, you got your Hank Juniors and Waylons and Willies and Johnny Cashes, and Merle Haggard sometimes don't get the just respect I think that he probably deserves, but wonderful singer-songwriter, just that image. And, unfortunately, like several other ones, he don't get celebrated properly until he passed away. But, just glad I got to see him. Got to see him in concert in Cherokee, North Carolina last year at the casinos.
Yeah. Obviously, Muhammad Ali was a big one this year.
Muhammad Ali.
He was one of the great boxers of all time. Another one that, took a bunch of shots to the head and unfortunately wasn't himself as he got older in years. And so CTE took a big part of that too. And now he made it a long time with it. He got real punchy later on in the line.
Yeah, very bad. But probably the most revered, especially in the African American community of athletes.
Sports athlete.
Yeah, I'd say he's the top of most people's list.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot for his religion and stuff at that point in time. So whether you believe in it or not, and or for it or not, he did a lot for his community at that point in time.
Pat Summitt, basketball.
Obviously, big Pat Summitt. Left a big hole at UT too.
Yeah, I mean, just it was cool to see the national love. We always knew how revered she was in Tennessee. But it almost surprised me because it seemed like that just goes to show you the mark she set. Because not only is stuff in Tennessee like when the Titans are maybe the Predators, even when they're doing well, they're overlooked nationally a lot of times.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how big of an effect Pat Summitt had on a national scale, winning so many championships that you had people even like Kobe Bryant tweeting when she passed away.
Yeah.
It's just set a perfect example, and a lot of motivate a lot of women to go out there and become coaches and players.
Yeah, a lot of those coaches that are out there now actually played for Pat Summitt.
That's right. And some of the best players in the WNBA. You see Candace Parker out there, and she just always out there having tributes for Pat just anytime she turns around. So
yeah, country music, Joey Feek of Rory and Joey.
Yeah,
she passed away this year. That was a real bad one. She battled cancer pretty hard, and we hate to see that type of stuff. But she stayed diligent and humble throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it was kind of a process we all watched
Yep.
unfold, unfortunately, in front of our eyes. So China from WWE, WWF, kind of transcended a lot of things. Groundbreaker for women's wrestling to go in. And of course, she was built, probably 6'1", 230 at least, and wrestled in a scripted world against men, but held her own, made it look believable in a scripted sport, and broke records with Playboy when she appeared in Playboy, and her life was kind of in shambles towards the end as to what brought her down. But one of the bigger names from that era, and in the arguably the biggest boom period in wrestling history,
and probably one of the most well-known women wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one here real recently was Carrie Fisher. Princess Leia herself passed away.
Right. That's probably top 2 or 3 biggest name of the year. And
yeah,
I have to be honest, man. I've never watched 1 second of Star Wars, old, new.
I got all 6 of them upstairs. I'll send home with you.
I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I just by following on social media how big of a deal that was this year.
Yeah.
Or this week.
She wrestled with a whole lot of issues in her life. She was bipolar and was pretty vocal about it, and she is, I think she wound up having a heart attack. And unfortunately, I was again watching the news right before we started, and her mother has been hospitalized today too. So,
well, I mean, she was 60, so her mother would have to be
pretty older. Yeah.
Prince, obviously, big one.
Prince is a big one.
Prince was probably that may have been the biggest name this year. I'm not sure, other than Muhammad Ali.
Musicians for sure. He was one, probably the biggest.
We talked about him pretty good in length there.
Yeah.
During a past podcast, you can check that out.
Yeah, he was a big one.
Always, if you want to see something cool with Prince, just go YouTube the Super Bowl performance he gave in 2007, I think. Go check that out for sure, man. That was awesome.
Kimbo Slice too.
Kimbo Slice, he died the podcast after we talked about him.
Yeah, he sure did.
Kind of making his comeback.
Yeah, hated to see that one. He is. If y'all haven't ever checked it out, there's a real emotional video out there where Brendan Schaub put out after Kimbo died. They was real close, man. He tells some good stories on Kimbo. And Brendan Schaub, shout out to Big Brown and the Fighter and the Kid podcast. Those guys, Brendan and him was real close, man. So that was a hard hit to him.
Also in the music world, just touch on a couple people here, not wrap it up, but George Michael, David Bowie.
Yep. Maurice White.
Had a couple more written down for music.
Yeah.
But, George Michael obviously
did
a lot for the gay rights community and fashion and style. That's what he was known for, kind of. David Bowie, unbelievable musician, More.
Yeah.
Listen a little bit more David Bowie than I did George Michael, obviously. But
yeah. Justice Scalia passed away this year. I don't say it's not music or anything. It's just a Supreme Court Justice Scalia passed away this year. That's super unfortunate one there too. I guess Alan Thicke, the dad from Growing Pains.
Yeah, and he was just playing hockey with his son, man, and fell down, and he's like, "Here, kid, get one last shot," and had his son take a picture to make sure you get the skating ring in the back.
Yeah,
and give him a thumbs up on his way out.
Yeah,
then die.
Yeah, one of the things they said was, or they said that he said was right before he was, or as he was being carted off, was sorry I slowed up the game, or sorry I did something.
Yeah.
You know,
very good spirits.
Yeah.
He had a quote from him I seen today. It was kind of cool. It says, "Family involvement is a valuable thing, and playing together actively can be the '90s version of it. Instead of just watching, you can do it together. Sometimes we don't spend enough time on it. We can motivate and excite each other about fitness." I mean, there,
super good shape guy too for, what was he, 69 years old?
Yeah,
and super good shape for that. I'm just gonna buzz through. Well, right there's another one, Jose Fernandez, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
A couple of lesser known names here. Alexis Arquette, if y'all know Sheriff Dooley from Scream, it was his sister, passed away this year.
Doris Roberts from
Everybody Loves Raymond, the mother on Everybody Loves Raymond.
And I loved her from Grandma's Boy when she was.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, right here around the holidays, Leonard Cohen. If you ever heard the song Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen wrote that song.
Florence Henderson, mom from the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Nancy Reagan, Gary Shandling.
Zsa Zsa Gabor passed away this year. Famous, first person famous for being famous, I believe. Christina Grimmie passed away this year. She didn't pass away, unfortunately. A fan came up to her at an autograph signing and shot her while she was signing autographs.
What was she known for?
She was a voice. She was on The Voice. She was one of those girls. I can't remember if she won or if she come in second, but she placed really high one year and fantastic singer.
God, that's odd.
Yeah, and it was.
I never even heard of that.
A rabid fan, man. Dan Haggerty. Does Grizzly Adams have a beard?
And that was Grizzly Adams.
That was Grizzly Adams, and he sure had a great beard.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Gordie Howe, legendary hockey player. Arnold Palmer, obviously, legendary golf player and a damn good drink.
Gary Marshall, which is, if you ever watched anything on Nick at Night back in the day, any of those old black and white shows, that guy had to do with almost every one of them. Did you say Arnold Palmer already?
I did, just then.
Just then you did.
Just then.
Alan Rickman, Professor Snape from Harry Potter. And if you watch Die Hard, the original Die Hard, he was Hans Gruber that got through off the top of the Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah. So quite a bit. Of course,
quite a bit of stuff.
Of course, you keep hearing, "Damn it, 2016." Like every time somebody dies, you see Facebook and Twitter posts, "Damn it, 2016, stop."
Some of the something else I wanted to cover here was, all the military people. They're not. We don't call them celebrities now, but they're famous in their own right. They give us the ability to sit here and do this thing, and there's been a lot of those deaths this year, and unfortunate amount of police shootings this year. And going both ways. That thin.
Are you telling me there's white people that die too?
Yeah, sure am.
I'll be dang.
That thin blue line got cut down on pretty hard this year. And it took a lot of heat about a lot of things this year, and then.
A lot of people say that's stupid because there's actually not blue people in the world.
Yeah. I think there was 54. That's just a number that's I've got in my head. That may be more or less than that one. Nope, right there. 852 police killings, including incidents such as deaths during an arrest, have been reported this year for the U.S.
If you mean to tell me right now, if you're breaking the news to me that there's white people, including white cops, that get murdered, I'm probably going to go riot. I'm going to go loot the Dairy Burger. I'm looting Melvin's. I'm
bust out some windows. All kinds of stuff.
I'm just going to act like a complete idiot and fool,
and
just think that it's perfectly okay to go act like a complete jack off.
Yeah,
because somebody in my race got murdered by someone else.
That's such a hard job. Everybody's not cut out for doing it, but there is a lot of good police officers out there, and these, they've been setting up police officers, calling them to false calls, getting them out there, getting them trapped in three-way fire. I mean, obviously the Dallas police shootings this year, and there was just murders all over the place. And then you just think of all the mass shootings and stuff that happened this year, like the unfortunate club down in Florida. And I know I'm forgetting a lot of places that happened in 2016, but it was just an awful, awful year for the things that happen inside the United States. So while we are talking about the celebrities, which are what a lot of people know, there's been some terrible deaths happen in the United States this year. So I just wanted to keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers. That's
it's because we celebrate it, and we, if the media would lay off and chill out and quit just posting all this stuff and just quit celebrating it so much, all these crazy nut jobs in the world wouldn't have it like, oh, I can get on front of Time magazine and I can be on the news for months at a time if I go blow up a building or if I go do this and that.
Or hey, how about Rolling Stones? Let's not put a bomber that bombed the marathon. I can't even think what the Boston Marathon. Let's not put the Boston Marathon bomber on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine.
It's nuts, man. Well, it's and like I said, a few people of one race die. Well, does that justify going to kill a bunch of innocent white cops?
No, it sure don't.
It's stupid, and if you think that way, then you're the effing problem.
Yeah.
Okay, you are the problem. Stop being. I mean. Let's just get off of it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and even
the mindset of some of these idiots.
Yeah, the
black and white.
There's we're all in this together. There's no reason to be doing all this. I know there's a lot of turmoil and stuff going on in the world. And you might say I'm isolated and I'm privileged and this and that, but it don't have to be privileged just to not want to kill everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to live a happy life with everybody, wouldn't we all? But what's so frustrating is like everybody's wanting equality and everybody to get the same rights. Well, how come is it when something happens,
you have to step on somebody else's rights for your rights to get?
And it's always their people.
Yeah.
When people of nationality, different races, something happens, it's always, when's it going to stop my people? Aren't we all one? Is that not what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Until something happens, then it becomes segregated.
Yeah. Yeah.
One way or another.
This administration didn't help that out a whole lot. Yeah.
You don't think so?
No, I sure don't.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Well, let's
that escalated quickly.
Yeah, it did. Let's get off that one.
It makes me sound like something I'm not, but I'm just so sick of the double standards, right?
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
Even hateful of anybody. I'm like the least. I mean, I guess that's what they say. If you have to say you're not, you are. But I'm not. I'm just so sick of the whining and the complaining and the ridiculous outlash and backlash of all this stuff.
That's a society that's eating itself. I mean, you can't espouse one thing and then turn around and riot over the exact same thing.
Yeah,
it's
makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah, it don't make any sense. But that's not what that movement's been accused of. Is having a lot of sense. And I get it too. There's the alt right and the alt left. I'm not a part of either one of them, so both sides need to chill down.
I'm the alt. Don't give a damn. Put your alt left, alt right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, let's get to our personal
highlights.
And this is from our personal lives and our podcast. We
kind of threw them both together.
Yeah, we're started the podcast, as you guys know, April, May area, somewhere around there. 1st of May,
yeah.
So, well, Lucas is going to tell you what's your.
My biggest highlight of the year. I mean, we followed it through the podcast, and just my personal life. It's been the most encompassing thing that's ever happened to me. My baby being born, man. That was my biggest highlight of 2016. That'll be the one thing that literally forever changes my life.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was kind of cool. Like you said, we announced it early in the show, and we tracked your
progress,
first ultrasound, and your gender reveal, and to the baby to Canada being born, and. Upstairs.
Now he's here, and he's 6 weeks old, literally today. 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So, little man, I love you. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be around to see you grow up and everything. But
that's it.
Either way, you changed my life for the better. And you had the same thing happen this year.
I had Shaq number one on my list, but then you did the baby. No, I'm joking. Yep, same thing. My baby just turned 9 months. Of course, everybody knows I got my 10-year-old Waylon, and Bayless was born March 25th. So that actually, this podcast started because of the trip you made to see him, and then there we go. But yeah, man, he's just he's man, he's just awesome. He's smiling. You know, like you said it earlier with Jeremy, I just kind of had to laugh about that because he'll just smile at you now for no reason. And right now he's got his teeth. He's got a lot of 8 or 9 teeth to come in. And then like right now we're giving him Whole Foods. It's almost like he's getting away with something he shouldn't be doing. Like he'll take
just smiling at you.
He'll take a bite of something like a popcorn. Like we'll give him a little piece of popcorn or a little piece of whatever.
Yeah.
And he'll just like giggle at you. You know, he loves Waylon. Waylon's good with him for about a minute and a half, but he absolutely loves Waylon.
Yeah.
Man, it is just awesome. And I tell you what, I'd like to think I've become a better person since he's been born. I was a pretty sketchy, skeptical person before. No, but no, there's something about that second one that has changed me.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what it is, but it's just maturity over a level of time. But you know, you still back me in the corner, and I'm still an idiot sometimes. But overall, man, this has helped me tremendously. The second baby, for sure.
Yeah. You know, as far as podcast things go, you know, starting the podcast was obviously huge, and like you say, it's wrapped around the start of your baby.
Yeah.
So that'll forever be tied to Bayless. And so just starting the podcast this year was huge.
It's a step in just courage and
for both of us, right?
Yeah, just like I said, does anybody, what would we talk about? Who would listen?
What are we going to call it? That was the the longest part of it.
I'd also like to go ahead and apologize to our friend James Hatcher for the next at least 20 to 30 minutes because we're going to be podcasting about a podcast.
Yeah.
But this is, like I said, a look back at some of our highlights of our favorite parts. But yeah, like Lucas touched on, the name was definitely, and I've had a lot of, obviously, I think it stuck. It sold T-shirts.
Yeah, it sold a few T-shirts, yeah.
That's what you look at in your marketing.
Yeah.
You know, what demographic are you looking at, and will it sell? Will it sell? And, you son of guns look awful sexy wearing that black and yellow.
I love seeing that black and yellow out there.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's awesome. So we need to get some hats out there. That's our poll.
I've been looking at new hats and stuff, and I'm getting that logo fixed up and getting it ready to get out there.
Well, so what's some of your personal as far as when we started getting our guests and whatnot?
I think our first in-studio guest was kind of special for a couple reasons. To me, my first in-studio guest was my little cousin Wesley. So, it's a family member. He's doing his thing like we're doing our thing. You know, he's down there getting ready to start doing his musical career. And then at that point in time, he's getting ready to start it, which he's making some good strides now. And, he come on with his single Summertime Hit, and it was a good song. It's one of them catchy songs, and I'll catch myself listening to it on my iPod now. And him being my little cousin, and getting to hear other people hear it, and seeing him kind of starting to get a little notoriety here and there. That was getting to have him on there early was probably one of my big things.
That was cool, giving him the shine early on to help us, let us help you and you help us kind of deal. It was early on because we're both starting up about the same time, so it was cool for him, and he was a great interview. He's been, he's lended us our intro song. He played for us on our park day that we'll touch on. And
he's got a new video out there. We're a little late. We should have covered it last week, and if we'd have been a little bit more on the ball last week, we'd have done that. But he's got a video cover of Silent Night out there that if you're still in the Christmas mood, go out there and check that out too.
Yeah, Silent Night, great job, Silent Night.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites was getting to interview Mike Keith.
Yeah.
That was one where
that was big. You really did a good job with that one too.
Well, thank you. Put a lot of research, a lot of time, and a lot of into that one. You know what I mean? It was one that I didn't want to come off Bush League, and which is kind of risky and a good possibility. Being I think it was our 19th show.
Yeah,
something like that. And obviously
he's done a lot of it too. So I mean, that's something that gets under your skin a little bit. He's been doing this forever, and we're just getting started at it.
Anytime there's ever been a Titans game broadcasted, he was the guy doing it. And I know that I was going to see him in the future. The last thing I wanted to do was suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew it would hurt future possibilities for guests, and for me to go to his show after that, and he's like, I told him, I said, man, we're going to have to get your partner Keith Bullock here on the show. And he said, oh yeah, man. He said, he asked some great questions. He said, I really enjoyed myself. And honestly, I didn't think he was BSing, because that podcast was supposed to last 15 minutes and it went 50.
Yeah.
That was a personal that was a personal high for me.
Yeah.
Was getting just one-on-one the first time without you, knowing whether I could carry the whole thing.
Yeah.
For sure. But luckily, it was something I was passionate about.
Yeah,
it helps.
and then that's led into your radio career now too. Getting to do it one-on-one like that, and
which Mike Keith has also already been on. So
yeah.
Mike Keith, and he give us that video clip.
Yeah.
Promoting us right from the start.
Early, almost before we ever got started, like our second show, we had it out there.
So Mike Keith is the freaking man.
Yeah. One of the other things I look back on this year was our trip to see Sturgill. And I'd been exposed to him by you a little bit, but us getting to go up there and hang out and do kind of the first thing is the show together, out and about. That was pretty big for me, and I enjoyed that, and I'll look back on that, and
it was a fun trip.
It was a real fun trip, man. And and the getting
any trip I get to be a passenger, I love it.
Yeah, that was a good time, man. Getting to listen to Sturgill, somebody that I like to listen to, and getting to see him play in person, and realize that he's just as good or even better in person as he is when he's playing on the records, man.
It almost mesmerizes you, man.
It really will. That guy's fantastic.
Just sometimes you don't. With his voice is so distinct just different as it is. Like sometimes I don't hear lyrics sometimes. I've actually look at his lyric sheet.
If you're listening to him live, you kind of need to know what the songs are saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Even on records, sometimes I can't make it out with his draw.
Yeah.
And I've had to print off several, just look at the lyrics and be like, oh, well, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
He just, man, if that wasn't the best, as far as music goes, my 3 favorite records for this year was his, Sailor's Guide, Justin Wells, Dawn in the Distance, and Dave Cobb's Southern Family album compilation with the Stapletons and Shooter and Jamie Johnson and Jason Isbell, and God, it's just awesome.
One of the things off of Sailor that I like so much about Sturgill, and one of the things that I really ties back to Camden was his song "Welcome to Earth." It was that whole album was dedicated to his son being born, and so the very first song, "Welcome to Earth," Pollywog is just amazing.
Yeah, it's weird how it's such a concept. Every record he's done such a concept. It was kind of like High Top Mountain was so traditional country, just in your face. Second was kind of like I just did a lot of acid, and
I'm gonna just write a whole album.
I'll do a lot of drugs and listen to this and do this album, and it was an awesome record. I listened to it and enjoyed it without the drugs.
Yeah.
And then this one, like I said, just kind of the Welcome to the World.
Yeah.
And somehow mixed in a Nirvana cover for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I guess Meeting Shack finally
getting to meet the Big Diesel.
It was just awesome, being my favorite athlete since I was 9 years old. And I was 32 when I met him, and you always hope your favorite athletes or whoever favorite anybody that you followed your whole career is going to be cool, and he couldn't have been any cooler. Met the whole family. Waylon got a picture with him, got a jersey signed. Lindsay met him, got a picture. We went back through the line, like I said, one of the first podcasts. The manager wasn't going to let him take pictures or sign autographs. Shaq done it on his own. He wasn't going to let Lindsay back in line to get a picture made with Bayless. Shaq said, "Come on back," and I ain't holding the baby.
Yeah.
It was just so cool. It was well worth. God, it was cool. And of course, a lot of people give me a hard time, rib me a little bit over Shaq, but I'm not lying when I tell you I would pick Shaquille O'Neal over 3/4 of my family and in-laws.
And after that podcast, I can't look at Shaquille O'Neal without going, "I ain't holding that baby."
He's just a class act, man. He's never really got any trouble. I'm sure he's done stupid stuff off the court that we don't know about, like any athlete does.
Well, wasn't he even a police officer for a little while?
He is, man, and it's hard for me to take people seriously. Like, oh, he's just not a good person. For over 25 years at Thanksgiving and Christmas, he has food drives on Thanksgiving where he feeds shelters and homeless people. Then on Christmas, he takes a semi-truck to Toys R Us and buys a semi-truck load and takes it to underprivileged kids for Christmas.
Horrible guy.
So, yeah, what a dick there.
Yeah.
But I've met, as Jeremy just alluded to earlier, I've met pro wrestlers, and I've met football players, and I've met musicians, and to meet your all-time favorite, man, that was really cool.
That's a big one, man.
Yep.
Something big that we did this year was the acoustic day in the park too. Looking back, that was huge. As big of a step was to sit in front of this computer and stare at these microphones, getting out in front of all them people and staring at those microphones and putting that together. And you did a great job putting that together for us. And
well, it wasn't a
it was it was a good time. Chris Raines did a lot to help us out there, and it was a great time, man. It was something that I've never done anything like that. I'm pretty sure you've never done anything like that.
No, I've hosted a lot of great parties.
Yeah.
Where I've organized a lot of texting people and arranging this and that, and nothing of that magnitude. And for a couple hundred people to come and spend their day with us and give donations out and us raise money, and
yeah, it was really good, man.
Like I said,
good time.
The talent on that show was amazing,
enormous
from top to bottom.
Yeah,
it was any one of those guys could have easily been stepped up and been the headliner. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like
any one of them.
I wholeheartedly believe that anybody on that bill could have killed it on the last slot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then Ryan Hammer stepped in there after. He'd said it'd been so long since he played anything, and then he steps up there and he was talking about how good all these people was, and absolutely murders the stage whenever he gets up there, man. That
Ryan
his
Banjo.
version of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave out Danny Joe. Just Ryan stuck out in my mind there, but his version of Soul Shine, man, just floored me. He's just so good at it, and Chris Raines has ruined a Jason Isbell song for me.
In a good way.
In a good way. I can't listen to Jason Isbell's version of it anymore. It's Cover Me Up. Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the name. Yeah. He ruined Jason Isbell's version for me because it ain't nothing like what Chris played.
Yeah.
I loved Chris's. If he'd put that on a CD, I'd listen to that every day.
Yeah, there you go, Chris. That's definitely something you should do.
If you cover that one, man, that would be fantastic.
That damn saxophone. Woo. Woo. First time a saxophone's ever been played in Hermit Springs. I dare you.
Probably the first one to ever come in Hermit Springs.
Can't say enough for Chris. Like I said, we've mentioned it time and time again. But banner, logo, hell, he gave me the logo for my radio show. I mean, just Chris Raines is good.
The
dude.
man.
Brother's all right for a white boy too. Just appreciate the hell out of everything he always does for us. And for him to sit back and, like I said, he commands big money on the weekends. Brothers Raines does, and
coming in there.
He would come in third slot that night and just kind of hang out.
And do all of the sound for everybody and let us use all of his equipment.
Can't beat him, man.
With the big stick.
Another big thing for our podcast this year was the first time we went on location with the lake with Shane Keith.
Big Shane, yeah. Our first on location.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It had all the usual setup of a lake, you would imagine. He had us well stocked when we got there.
Yeah.
There wasn't no shortage of anything that we would have needed. Didn't bring on our own.
Yeah, except for microphones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No shortage of anything but microphones that day.
Yeah, that's it. So luckily we were able to
rectify the situation, get him on a little later.
Bring him down, and then we were again well stocked with anything that we needed afterwards. Yeah. Thanks to Shane, he took care of us all the way around, and I got to ride him around through Haydenburg up around our stomping grounds in North Springs after that. But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It realized when I seen myself up on a daggum boat in a picture after he posted, it's like, man, I definitely need to drop some.
Hey, I'll tell you what, me and you both made that guy look like a tiny person, man. Looking back at that picture, it's like, whew.
Like
Yeah. Josh Morningstar, that was another good one we had this year. Pretty good up-and-coming musician, man. Fantastic interview. Great guy who would stop the middle of an interview to help somebody find their kid. Just a good guy, man. Good music, good guy.
It meant a lot to me to get to interview him after I'd seen him play with Shooter. Then just knowing how much he busts his ass to try to make himself work in the wild, crazy music business. Anybody that travels where he lives in where was it? Is it Virginia where he lives?
I can't remember. I believe that's right, but I wouldn't swear to it.
Anyway, he traveled like all night basically to play Layla's on Broadway on Tuesdays, and I got a chance one day I was off work and got the chance to go check him out and got to see his whole set. And there wasn't 10 people in there in and out for the day, but man, he didn't half-ass it. He played his show, and did a great job. Missed it the next week. Cody Jinks and I want to say Josh Thompson were in there and Layla's. So we missed it by a week getting to see Cody Jinks and Josh Thompson. But yeah, I just wish him the best of luck. He signed with Out of the Box Entertainment with Kathy and Buddy Jennings. Buddy, of course, being one of Waylon's sons, and he releases music all the time. You can get his Merle Haggard Die Today song on iTunes now. Just sincere dude. Yeah, great interview.
Super sincere.
Would love to have him back longer than 15 minutes one day.
Yeah, sometime maybe when he's not in the middle of a show, maybe we'll get him on.
Yeah. And then, like I said, we've had a lot of love from other Titans players. For episode 4 for Music City Miracle Man himself, Kevin Dyson, to step onto the show, not knowing anything what we were about.
Yeah, just taking the leap of faith and coming on and giving us all kinds of time.
Yeah, he was in his office in high school.
Office, yeah, and just a great interview too, man. A super funny guy. Really took care of us, two fledgling kids that was just getting started. Obviously, we're not kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I can't hardly listen back to that because we were so green on that. I always listen to our episodes once.
Yeah.
And I can't even try to listen to that anymore. I did at then, but I can't imagine, 29 episodes ago.
You literally slowed me down in the middle of it because I was talking so fast. I looked over at you and you gave me the 2-hand slow down motion because I was just.
Yeah. It's like a cheat on cocaine.
I was wide open, Jack.
Yeah, so he was cool to be kind of our guinea pig. No, I don't mean that disrespectful. Just mean that he was one of the main ones I had targeted early on, and
I literally, which it's old hat now. I literally spent an entire week trying to figure out how to hook up a telephone to this.
Yeah,
stupid little soundboard right here just so we could get him. I ordered all kinds of cables, ordered the wrong ones the first time. I had to go back and order new cables again and get the right ones.
It was stressful because he was supposed to be calling it at 2 o'clock that day. It was like,
and it wouldn't work.
1:50, we were still
1:50. It worked the night before, and then at 1:50 it quit. I just couldn't get it to work.
Also, the same token of that, Bernard Pollard came on later on. Same episode, Jim White. Of course, Jim's a senior editor and writer for the Titans Online.
Yeah. Pollard was a good interview.
Pollard was great. White was very,
that one was sports, statistics heavy, and
yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
Super knowledgeable guy.
But Bernard really showed his personality.
Yeah, that's a great guy.
I texted him the other day about football, and then he didn't text me back. And I was like, well, most of the time he gets back to me pretty quick. But it was like 10 o'clock one night when I texted him when I was watching a game. And then our birthdays are on the same day.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it on Twitter, or maybe it's like a day apart, and I said something. He's like, hey, bro, let me run back this tweet. How it was just kind of Bernard Pollard in a nutshell here. He said, thanks, brother. Dude, sorry I missed your text. And then I asked him if they had a good Christmas. He said, yeah, brother, the kids enjoying everything. I'm in chill mode, bro. Y'all holding up over there? He's just so casual. And I just look forward to getting him on again one of these days.
Yeah. Doing some good things for them kids out there.
Yeah, that Pro Scout, man. That's really cool. A lot of things. And Bernard's just a funny dude. I wish he could get another opportunity in the league, but he ain't hurting, right now. He's
that
cool.
entrepreneurial spirit. And that was easy for me to say. Putting out there that all that stuff he likes to do, man. That's real neat for him too.
What about your boy? Well, we had
go ahead.
CJ Mack.
CJ Mack was on, yeah. Boy from Hermitage Springs. He was another local guy, one of our first local musical guests to come on here. He's an up and coming guy. Is he in Virginia now too?
Virginia.
Yeah.
Wearing Batman shirts. Jason Aldean startup kid.
Yeah. And he got to come on and talk to us. He's got a song coming out. Never could get that song to play. I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, hopefully next time if we ever get to do an acoustic day in the park again, that CJ can be part of that one.
Get to come down and be a part of it.
We've also really stretched out a whole lot. Speaking of local people, we've stretched out a lot to our local talent when it comes to athletes and basketball coaches.
Yep, tried to do a good job with those guys. Rob Edwards being the first one to come on there and knock that out of the park. Talk about a great interview. I mean, just a good guy.
Yep, he was. I was thinking about all the flack.
I was about to say, all that flack just rolls up to the top there, didn't it?
All the flack that we took from Herman Springs people. We had a Salina basketball coach on our show before we had anybody from Herman Springs on. But yeah, man, Rob's a good
dude, man.
Good interview, and
we had old John Denton on later on.
John was the one giving us flack that we didn't have him on. I guess he was probably thinking, how the hell are you gonna have our rival on before you have your own basketball coach on? Yep. John was pretty knowledgeable, and of course, you guys got into his
triathlon doing he does there.
It's pretty impressive, man, for him to be able to do that, and just keep up and be. I mean, of course, he's never really half effort anything, when you see him doing stuff.
And
pretty
you see
serious.
him running down the side of the road out here, you know he's meaning business. He's just head down, just running, man. Blow a horn at him, throw a hand up. He don't care. He's going. He's running.
A lot of people say after that, they're like, "My God, you got John Denton to laugh on that podcast. You got him to." I've always kind of seen that.
He's always laughed whenever I was around.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's a pretty serious cat, but I've always seen the kind of the lighter side of him. Also, I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a shoot or not. I don't know if he. Yeah. I don't know, but he's never been that serious to us.
Yeah.
Then we had Matt Walker.
Yeah.
He's also another name that was on.
Basketball coach there, and they really good. Another really good guy, man. Super humble guy too. Probably the most humble guy we've had on here.
Yeah, it wasn't so much about his accomplishments as about who's helped him along the way.
Yeah,
he was giving props to Pickett County people and Coach Edwards and the Herman Springs system. I mean, he just was props for days for him.
Not only that. I mean, probably the biggest fan of his own team too, man. I mean, it's talk about supporting your brand. He was, touting those girls.
Yeah, and they've started off a little slower over there, and I think probably he would have attended, but I have no doubt he'll have them. Yeah. He'll have them ready.
Yeah, he'll get them.
And probably our most clustered up episode, the Clay County senior boys.
I wish that one would have went better. I'd like to have that one back still. We'll get that one back at some point in time.
Yeah.
But
and God bless you guys that sat through that crap. Because God,
that wasn't coming through the headphones. I apologize for that. Whenever we was sitting there listening to it, it sure wasn't coming. And I've remedied that situation with a better set of headphones. I've got them on right now, and so next time I'll be able to hear that a little bit better.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a combination of many things. Of a small classroom, the kids just not being used to that setting and kind of having their head down talking. If you don't talk in the microphones, that happens.
These don't pick them up. Because here's what happens. You can't hear me right now because I'm over here now. I'm back over here.
You know what I'm saying? When you're talking like this, I'm just hanging out. So everybody was somebody said, "Man, well, those the kids too cool or what?" And I was like, "No, it's just they never. It wasn't that. It was just it just wasn't there. It was their first time doing that."
Yeah, and when you're young, you're a teenager and doing stuff like this, you start doing anything for the first time. You don't have a whole lot of experience outside of the school, and it's just anything's awkward. And then us sitting there staring at you, asking you questions.
Yeah. Two guys you don't know, basically, and
Dawson maybe knew us.
Yeah, Dawson knew us, and that was about it, I think. And but no, those guys are rock stars right now.
Yeah.
Kind of. Tyreek's averaging like 75 a game. And,
yeah.
They're playing right now as we're recording this. They played at 5:30. Jackson County, Jackson County and Macon are playing right now.
Yeah,
but
then we had those high school girls on too from over there.
Yeah, and I thought they all did well. The McLean girl, she kind of took over the interview.
Yeah,
a little bit more. The other ones were kind of passive and
real personable. Yeah,
she really kind of took over and answered a lot of the questions.
Did a real good job.
But yeah, I've talked to a lot of the parents since then. They're like, "Hey, we listened to your podcast with the boys," and I'm like, "Oh, shit.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Man. But like I said, man, you did all. If it was,
I spent a lot of time trying to make that one.
I promise, Lucas busted his butt trying to get that one.
Yeah. Anyway, that was probably the biggest learning experience of 2016 as far as this podcast goes on what not to do.
Yeah, and then kind of our last local kid, we had Seth Carlisle on.
Yeah, Macon County football player Seth Carlisle, local guy, John and Lynette's oldest son, great football player from over there. Another super humble kid, just eye on the prize and doing his thing,
Yeah, man, he was a great interview. I
really good interview.
I really didn't know the kid. I've always talked to his dad. I've talked to his mom. I don't know his mom as well either. So I've just talked to John and
and his grandmother.
Yeah, obviously have her in school, but Didn't know what to expect with him, and
He'd come in, man, like he'd done this before, really.
Yeah. Well, these kids are a lot in the local spotlight quite a bit, and they're having to talk to people. I'm sure.
Yeah. And those kids are raised right too. They're raised to be respectful and talk to people and listen and sit and listen. So he did a good job there. Not to say that anybody else was disrespectful when raised right. I don't.
You slide a pump.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, that's
just kidding.
That.
I only ragged on
Wasn't meant for
Salina.
that.
I only ragged on Salina when I was talking about their dedication to egging on Halloween.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true. And I don't take a thing back I said. And I talked to a bunch of people that were like, "Man, you hit it right on the head with that."
Yeah.
So if you don't want to get made fun of, grow up. Stop throwing eggs at 45 in Salina.
Yeah.
Jesus.
We kind of missed a couple of our big musical guests there. Mr. Justin Wells himself.
Justin Wells, the man that dropped 57 F words in 30 minutes.
I must have missed one in there somewhere. I can't remember if I did or not. I had 2 pages of times wrote down where I was trying to take stuff out there. Great interview.
Yeah, oh man.
Dirty potty mouth.
Yeah, but that's the way he lives, man. What would you? I mean, Lucas, can I fib on myself? Can I tattle on myself here?
Yeah, go for it.
If we're podcasting and I'm not thinking about what my work's gonna hear or what somebody's, what people that are close to me are gonna hear.
Yeah.
What do you think my podcast would sound like? Right?
It'd be a lot different from what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, come on. I've been known to have a little bit of a potty mouth.
Me as well.
So I mean, we're both pretty potty mouthed. Like when we're just talking amongst each other, it's like beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
So I didn't think anything about it at once. Like when we first started interviewing Justin, I was like, Lucas, I listened to a podcast Justin was on last night, just to kind of give us an idea of what he's going to be like. I said he had some F words going on. Lucas said, okay, well.
Yeah, I'll write them down. I've got this. I've done this before.
Yeah, and I said, I told him he dropped about 10 that I heard, but I only listened to like 9 minutes. So yeah, Lucas is over there like writing it down, and I've slid him a little piece of paper, and I said, your editing skills are going to be challenged today, buddy.
Yeah.
And he kind of shot me a bird or something, and went not real, I don't know, he just gave me a look, and he, but let me tell you something, like, that's just his lifestyle, man. That's just his.
Well, he's out on his own too and doing his thing. He's
the band asked him not to curse no more.
Yeah.
Like it says in the Dogs, the song, but which is out on video now. He's got the video for Dogs. But I'm gonna tell you something. Justin Wells is one of my favorite current Southern rock country acts out there. Man, he's just a very personable dude that come on to promote his album. I'd been fighting with him through text for months to come on. He finally broke him down, and I just wasn't gonna stop that interview and say, "Oh, look, man, we can't."
Yeah, could you settle down a little bit? Nah, he was rolling too good. It really wasn't that bad. I got it done that night before I went to bed.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't something, and I'd love to have him on again. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, I whether his career ever goes anywhere or not, man, he's a good dude first and foremost. If you follow him on Twitter and Instagram, like he posted a video of his little girl, one of his twins, singing "Little Darlings" the other day. His song about them, and I just think he's just an awesome dude for what I know of him. And he let me tag along that night to go to Riverfront Bar, drink beers with Shooter Jennings and him, and that was and then go watch them play pool after that. I'll always think that's really cool, Justin, and wish him nothing but luck.
Yeah. Our probably biggest guest to date. Not probably the biggest guest to date. Mary Spar come on.
Yeah, and as far as nationally known, no, Mary Spar is not the biggest guest we've ever had. I would think
not at all. It'd be one of the Titans for sure.
I would think so, or even Justin Wells is more well known than probably Mary Spar. But man, I tell you what, Mary done. She promoted the absolute hell out of this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, come on and. Had actually posted her own stuff before we got off, or before I even got it out there.
Yeah, we were sitting there finishing the show up after we got off the phone with her, and she posted on Facebook.
Yeah,
tagged us in it. Mary's awesome. I met Mary.
Awesome.
Every musical guest we've had, I've met through Shooter Jennings. Mary is the same way, and man, she just. I talked to Chad Flatt, who we'll bring up in just a second.
Yeah.
Chad's about the 5th person that said that Mary was the best interview. Yeah. So you guys have not listened to that's episode 31, 3 episodes counting back from this one. Man, she just great.
Interviewer's dream too. You literally don't even have to ask her questions. You just got to give her just a gentle shove and a general direction, and she's just going, buddy.
Yeah, well, she was great, man. She apologized for rambling. I'm like, this is what it's all about, But yeah, that's ideally every time you get a guest, whether it's a high school basketball coach or whether it's a football player, basketball player, a singer on any level, you dream that they're going to promote the hell out of your show like she did.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, we gained followers
just from
that's
that.
what it's all about, man. Like, I get tired of plugging our stuff all the time. Lucas probably gets tired of plugging our stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not because of that. It's just like we don't want to be so in your face that we're like.
That's the only thing we're showing you, and
yeah.
And then having that kind of free publicity from somebody that, realistically you're giving it to them too. But whenever somebody that's got as many followers and as prolific as she is that gets out there and puts it out there. Boy, it really helps the brand.
It did. And, I'd love to have her on again. Like I said, Chad said it was the best interview we've done. So I think Derek Rich said that. Mackie said that.
Yeah.
So, kind of wrap up our big celebrity guests. We had two more. Amber Harding.
Yeah, social media coordinator for the Tennessee Titans.
She was a fun interview.
She was a fun interview.
She's not afraid to – any girl that loves football, drinks beer – gets rowdy in downtown Nashville 4 nights a week, and just I can dig that. You know,
that's
my kind of girl right
that's
there.
That's a good time right there, and and again, super personable. She's used to doing this type of stuff.
Oh yeah, this is her world.
Her world. Yeah.
So she was great, and that was just a fun interview to be able to just kind of. And we talked Titans, but we really it was all over the place. Like I said, we talked music, we talked different sports. We found out that the Jaguars.
I think we all eat mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise or
Miracle Whip.
Mayonnaise. I guess it was mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think it was odd. But yeah, she was for sure one of my favorite guests. And then we had Keith Bullock.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was real cool because knowing Keith and following Keith on Snapchat, there was no doubt in my mind he was drinking wine that entire time. But he talked to us.
Yeah, I think he was actually grilling or getting ready to grill out or something, wasn't he?
So he was drinking wine.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it.
It was just a good interview. Another really good guy, super personable guy. These NFL players, man, you really miss out on their personalities a lot of times, and when they're just straight talking football. But there's some good, funny guys out there, man.
And we've been very fortunate to have two of the more outlandish ones because if anybody that's ever known Bernard Pollard's personality knows he's crazy and outspoken and God knows he's going to say anything. And Keith Bullock's the same way. I mean, he just you don't give a damn what you think, and he just speaks his mind. And he was, man, Ravens suck, and just saying stuff and loved. I mean, we just fortunate, man. We hadn't had any boring NFL personalities. No real, just humble, kind of like, oh, okay. We got guys that's just gonna talk a little smack on here when we got in here. But speaking of humble, Mickey Ryan was definitely our most humble celebrity guest.
Could you believe he thanked us for coming on here?
Yeah. Hey, I take another step. He told me happy birthday on Facebook the other day.
LV Law.
Well, I've made it big on the Facebook birthday world when Mickey Ryan's telling me happy birthday by name.
Yeah. 1045 Zone, go check that guy out, man.
Shoot, he's awesome. He's just completely, he replaced Clay Travis, and it's completely 100% different than Clay Travis.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And we had a bunch of our local buddies, Jeremy Mackie. We've had him on 3 times.
Man, we couldn't have asked for a better call-in guest than Jeremy Mackie. And the line where he talked about he's undefeated against 5-year-olds or whatever he said.
Funniest thing ever been said on this podcast.
Yeah. He got here and he was a little bashful. And the last couple times we've had him in studio and on the phone line last time, but I mean he dropped dude in Woolies the other night. We
got I got some feedback on his last interview.
Yeah,
we missed the most obvious joke ever.
Did we?
We really did. When he said there was a giant Jenga set at that other place, we should have told him that it wasn't giant. He's just really little. It's a regular size Jenga.
That is a very
It was.
Who said that?
Randy Cherry. After he told me that, I thought that's the most obvious joke.
Randy Cherry's always good for some good feedback.
Oh yeah, he's good for some good feedback, man. I run a lot of stuff by him, see what he thought about it, but he come in and said, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for this one joke, and y'all never got to it. And after he said it, I thought, I can't believe we didn't get that.
Blake Allen and Derek Woolbright was another interview.
Talk about 2 boys that did their homework before they got to that podcast.
Yeah, I give them crap after that because I thought they really, really let loose on each other.
Yeah, they started agreeing in there, and
oh, you know what, Blake, you're absolutely right. Well, no, Derek. Now I hate to argue with you right here, but
yeah, and I really wanted you to, really,
because them boys are real close.
Yeah,
and I thought they would just be like on each other.
Yeah,
but boy, they really did know they
knew their stats whenever they come on there. They was ready for that.
Blake came with a Hulk hand.
Sure did.
Atlanta Braves
never did take it off either.
Not a Hulk hand. I had the Hulk hand. He had the Atlanta Braves fist. The same thing as a Hulk hand.
Yeah.
And Derek brought a damn notebook like he was fixing to call the game for CBS.
With like 3 or 4 pages of notes in it.
Him and Vern Lundquist was about to call the game together, so he was ready for sure. And I got to talk to him. He didn't even get to bring out half the stats he really wanted to. So them boys, hey, we had a good time with them boys. Also,
Yeah.
I mean, man, we've been very fortunate. We hadn't had any guest where we got done. We're like, damn, that was bad.
Yeah, that sucked.
Or that was awkward.
Yeah.
Like every one of them, and the listeners may be going, "Oh, really?" Because I thought they sucked.
I thought this one was awful. Yeah,
and they may have, and
they may be sitting there going, "No, it's just the ones that it's just you two guys. That's
yeah.
those ones that suck."
Yeah, and our numbers don't always lie about that.
Say, at least numbers would agree with you.
At least go back to the one where we talk on the back porch in Florida. I had a hell of a lot of good times.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites, recording that show.
Yeah.
I was sitting on that back porch in Florida.
Smoking a cigar
trying to smoke a cigar.
Uh-huh.
About 6 beers in the podcast, trying to talk to you, and dadgummit.
And then
like 60 people listen. No.
Our old buddy James Hatcher come on multiple times.
Yeah.
Can't beat James the Big Stick, but he's I've known that guy for a long time. He gigged me in the back with a frog gig back when I was probably 14 or 15. And we lived with him in my first apartment. My first roommate ever outside of a family member.
He frog gigged you. That's your favorite James Hatcher story.
That's one of my most memorable James Hatcher stories. Was with his frog gigging, and he gigged me in the back.
Did he prop your frog gig and cherry?
No, he popped my getting poked with the frog gig cherry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. James has been a good guest. He was our number 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where we obviously, as everybody stated for weeks after, that we had too much fun on that show, and we. But also, one of the most quoted is when it comes to the Domers story. That not the first time or last time Domers would have been referenced on 33 episodes here. And we had a good time, and shoot, I ain't afraid to have a good time again if he comes. We'll
have him back. He'll be back.
I'm sure. And I'm hoping his Green Bay Packers get stomped, because we got a little Facebook beef going right now. We've only known each other for 28 years or so, and we got a little Facebook beef because here's the deal, man. He started it, whether he knows he started it or not. He started it. The Titans beat the Packers. Mm-hmm. So I go on there and say, hey, whatever I said, I'm not going to rub it in, but, James Hatcher thinks that the Titans should have never beat the Pack, blah, blah. Whatever it was, I referenced the Titans beat the Packers. They didn't just beat them, they beat them. And, I made reference to it. I made light out of it. Only because James Hatcher had said before the season, the Titans are not good. The Titans are not good. If they win 4 games, he's like, I'll take the whatever on 4.5.
Yeah.
He's like, they're not going to win 4 or 5 games. Mm-hmm. Well, luckily, the 5th game they won this year was against his beloved Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. So, yes, who's not going to rub that in when you treat my team like – I told him, I was like, dude, we got Murray, we got these draft picks, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be better. Like, I think we're at least 6 or 7 win team. Mm-hmm. He's like, there's no way they're winning over 4 or 5 games. So, for my little lowly, piss-poor, bottom-of-the-barrel, scumbag Titans to beat your legendary Lambeau Field Packers – the preseason champions of all preseason champions. And that's what you are, brother. You're preseason champions. So the next week, when he come back and his Colts beat the Titans, he's like, oh, I just want to give a blah, blah, blah prayer or special thought to Dustin Kennedy. So I thought we're even, right?
Yeah.
We're 1-1. Last week, it's not bad enough that my Titans didn't show up against the Jags, but my quarterback broke his freaking leg. James posted again. I was like, what? I thought we were even. He's like, I'm not one to call somebody out, but but when you start it, I'm like, well, first off, you're always talking about my Titans. You started it. So be it. We're 1-1. Then you go across the line.
You got to get him another time.
Well, the Lions and the Packers are playing. I told him, I said, ideally, I would root for the preseason champion Packers to win because they're a more intriguing playoff matchup because they do have a very good quarterback. But now I want to almost root for the Lions. And I don't even have to put it on Facebook because, the Packers, they've got a Super Bowl. I'll give them that. Aaron Rodgers has got a Super Bowl. He beat one of my favorite players, Ben Roethlisberger, to get it. How happy are you? I'm tickled to death because my Titans weren't supposed to win 4 or 5 games. And the preseason champion Packers, who were always in it to win it, got the piss beat out of them by the Tennessee Titans. Facebook that, James. And I hope the Lions beat them.
You're eat up with sports, ain't you?
Nah, I love James. James is probably going to post some Facebook another status on me, old punk. We was tied, and here you gotta go fire me up. If my quarterback didn't break his damn leg, it wouldn't hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't mind if the Packers won. But
yeah,
I'm scared to put it on James. I'm afraid if I say something about the Lions beating the Packers, even though he started it, even though he says I started, he'll probably defriend me from Facebook and block my cell phone number if I say something about the Lions winning.
One we brought up.
God, James, you always gonna be fired up.
It took 34 shows, folks, and he just broke his own record. Made it 2 hours in and dropped the F-bomb. I'll go back and get that one.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
And it was a quiet one, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a full-fledged. I didn't even bring it from the heart. Ryan Hammer, you were a great guest, too.
Yeah, you were a great guest, too, Ryan.
He was nervous as all piss. He smoked 17 cigarettes before we called him.
Oh, I'm sure he did. But, he's another one of those guys that's easy to talk to and just a great musician. I can't, I've done said it a while ago about how good his version of Soulshine was, but fantastic musician, great guest, good time to talk to.
Yeah, man.
He's another new dad this year.
Yep, baby Rhett on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think the world of that guy, man, and he's been really plugging for his buddy Elvie Shane, who competed on The Voice, I think he said, or one of those shows, and he's playing a lot in Texas right now. I've been messaging Elvie on Facebook, and hopefully we can work that out. Would love to have him in studio.
Yeah.
It was the plan. That's why we've not had him. We've had chances to have him on the phone, but we really are. That's going to be a resolution for 2017 to get Elvie Shane on the show. But, last but not least, as far as our guests go, my buddy Chad Flatt, I spent about 40 minutes talking to today.
Oh, really?
Talking some professional wrestling with him.
He's a podcast voice from way back, man. He's a good one. We modeled a lot of stuff after. He's helped us out with a few topics and stuff here and there, and people really wanted to hear that wrestling talk. They got their chance right there.
Yeah, and that's something I'd like to shoot for, is get some wrestling personalities on here if there's any way possible. But man, he did just a great job of telling stories. He's actually got a second wrestling podcast for any of you wrestling people. Go out and check the Fans podcast out, and of course his is Pro Wrestling Weekly, and he's got one started, and man, I really hate something called the Monday. It's basically over the Monday Night Wars, and I'm sorry I can't remember how he said what he said it was going to be called. I just talked to him today, Monday Wars or something. But basically, he's covering the 84 weeks of WCW beat WWF in the Monday night ratings, and he's going to break down what happened each week on both those shows.
Right.
So,
I'm just sitting here thinking of a couple of things here. So, one, you said Elvie Shane in The Voice. Did you see one of our guests at the Acoustic Day in the Park?
Oh, yeah.
Lindsey Birdwell.
She's going to go audition again.
She's going to go audition for The Voice.
Man, I hope she makes it.
I do too. I really think she's got a good chance to do it. She's got a great voice. That girl can flat sing.
She moved here when we were in 7th grade, I want to say, when you would be in 6th grade. I think that's when she moved here. And she just has been singing those musicals I remember going on a Beta Club trip, and for all you smart Alex, they're going to say, oh, using a Beta Club. Well, I wasn't just the bus driver. I actually was smart back in the day.
Yeah, and so congratulations to her.
But
I hope she does.
That's what I was going to say. She went to sing on that Beta Club convention. She sang With a Broken Wing by Martina McBride, and just absolutely killed it down there that day. And, I hope she follows her dream, and like I said, I'm glad she is.
I am too. It's kind of took her a while to get to that, but I hope she does good.
Yeah, no doubt. No.
And I had 2 other guests here that we forgot your boy Waylon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
He come in for the Waylon Minute Cavaliers the other night.
Yeah, you can't ever shut that kid up about basketball about like his daddy. And here, get him on the camera or microphone, he was all skittish. But then you, I mean, God, who wouldn't have been? Poor old kid was chewing bubble gum over here on the microphone. Lucas shamed him.
Yeah, I sure.
For sure, stop doing that in the microphone.
Chewing your gum in the microphone.
Waylon, after he left, he goes, he scared me a little bit. He said, I said, son, you ought to be knowing not to
chew your gum in the microphone.
Chew gums are damn loud.
There was a douchey move on my part, though.
Well, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Who was the other guest?
Well, last but not least here, old producer Jace.
Yeah.
Be
remiss
not to bring producer Jace in here.
I would make fun of his producer skills, but he is responsible, him and Kara, for making the Mike Keith interview happen.
Yeah. He come down here and set it up. That's how he got his producer title.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you thought of it.
I would have took some heat over for getting old producer Jace.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big things for you this year, old buddy, you're getting to do your own radio show.
Yeah, I don't know if 5 people or 50 people or how many people's listening, but
a little harder to get statistics than it is about this thing, isn't it?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that I bust my butt to do research for that. I can go to another level that I don't go here, right? And it's less time that we've got to cover on sports,
right?
Which kind of sucks for some people because a lot of people want to hear sports on the show and that can't get the coverage or the time slot to listen to the radio show. But it's more for me to go to that other level of my sick, intense passion of sports. And
like I was saying, buddy, you're eating for sports, and it comes out real nicely on that radio show. I've caught you several times, and it's you do a really good job with it.
Well, thank you. And that's during baseball or during football and basketball. I don't know what in the hell I'm going to talk about when baseball
season rolls around.
We're going to be doing trivia segments with calling guests or something on old time sports. But
whenever them baseball gloves come out, people go ahead and start calling DK. 615-666-3000, I believe.
Yeah, that's it. And Carlos is pissed because I don't ever talk Predators hockey. And I'm like, God, I promise I will eventually when I learn the sport and when I know anything about it. But anyway, to get to it, it's a dream of mine that I didn't chase long for several years, and obviously you helped me get the confidence to do this, is giving me the confidence to approach that. Think Kalen Witcher is actually the one that kind of put the bug in my ear for that from Gainesboro. He kind of gave me the contact info there. The deal is I like doing it. They like me doing it. So like I said, I don't know who's listening, but I encourage.
Obviously, if they like you doing it, they're getting some feedback somewhere. I believe they have a way of doing numbers, but I don't know.
I don't know, but I do encourage anybody that wants to talk to sports, man, call me because that makes my job easier because I've been spoiled with Lucas here and giving me a constant feedback and us shooting back and forth. And man, I tell you what, those first couple episodes, when I feel like I was just throwing some good stats out there and some good knowledge, and it's like
nobody that echo it back off
crickets, man. And you're like, does this suck? I mean, and I'm like, hey, call in, guys. Crickets. And luckily, some guys have called in. I've had 5 or 6 guys call in. Matt Tuck's getting to be a almost every week guest. The last 3 weeks, he's really chimed in on some Titan stuff. But
it's good to have a regular on there.
It's pretty cool, man. And I still think to this day, even though we kind of cover it here, I'd still think that you should also do a second podcast for 2017. I still think you should go full force into a health and fitness or a politics podcast, because as much as I'm into sports, you're eat up with that.
I am, and I've thought about that. I've thought about doing, a 30-minute one, not a long one, and covering the political topics of the week and maybe a sports and fitness topic of the week, and get a couple of these fitness guys on that I like to follow. And I've played around with that a little bit, and it would be in addition to this one. This one's always going to be home base for me, but I thought about maybe trying to venture out into one. You doing your radio show, kind of thought, well, he's doing a good job with that. Maybe I could do a good job with another podcast.
I think so, because I feel like you're cheating yourself by not going full force on that, because
the other